everyone. Good morning. Yeah, it's still morning. Okay. So firstly, a very, very warm welcome to everybody here. May I just request everybody to please be seated so we can start. It's wonderful to see such a diverse group of people together. We have farmers here, most importantly. We have our soil sakis, we have our team members, we have people from research institutions, we have people from finance, philanthropy, we have people from Indian cinemas. So it's all in all a very, very wonderfully packed room. And more than anything else, it's a room full of compassion, because everybody has come with an open mind and an open heart to listen to farmers, to hear their stories, understand realities from the ground, which is not something that's easy for us to do on a daily basis. So we are here to listen to people who are closest to the soil, and sometimes that can mean a little bit of discomfort. So I'd request everybody to keep an open mind about what's happening. And today is not just about speaking. The most important point. Today is not about speaking, not just about speaking. Most importantly, it's about listening. And some of the best people that you may have the opportunity to listen from today may not be just the people who are here on stage, but they're people on your very tables. There are farmers and soil sakhis who are spread across each of your tables. So I would request all of you find the time to know their names, know where they're from, what does their day-to-day life look like, what are some of the challenges they have, what are their aspirations for their children, for themselves, for their futures, and just let's try to come together and understand how do we really make sense of whatever we are hearing in the news, in the media, through various conversations we have. I know, so we have farmers who've left Maswad, Satara district, various parts of Solapur, all of those at 10 p.m. last night. They have arrived in the city of Bombay, the city that never sleeps. That's also true for most of them today. They've arrived very early in the morning, but some of them have the happiest faces today because they have so many people here who've come to listen to them. And we've brought them here. We told them we're going to put you in a room with people who have the power. They have the compassion, they have the resources, and they have the networks to make a difference. So we don't want to be the ones telling your stories. We want you to be the ones telling your own stories. And I know some of you came early today, and it was a bit chaotic. But you know what? Agriculture doesn't have a neat agenda either. When you farm, there are so many volatilities, there are so many things that are absolutely outside of your control. And we experienced a few of those starting out today morning. So, you know what? Like farmers embrace it. I think we are just going to embrace it and we are going to keep going. So please be a little patient today. I know it can seem like we have a full day, but we have so many people who volunteered to share their perspectives on this topic, and were so generous to also accept it when we asked them to share those thoughts. So with that, I would like to start. And to begin, I would like to invite somebody who has been thinking deeply about some of the topics, some of the themes that I spoke about when you want to work in agriculture, what do you value, what do you invest in, and most importantly, what can we do today that will really define what we see tomorrow and what we have tomorrow. So I would like to request my colleague Karan to come. Karan is a proud farmer and the founder of Mandeshi's Climate and Agriculture Center. So yeah, Karan, over to you. I think we can cheer a little for all farmers today.
Good morning, everyone. I won't take a lot of time. I've just got a speech that is written, so I won't take a lot of time of all of you. Thank you all for coming today. I want to begin by recognizing the invaluable support of HSBC. Without them, what we are seeing today is not possible. Your partnership has made a real difference to our farmers and our land, and we are deeply grateful for your commitment. Your presence here today means a lot, especially to our farmers in the region where there is little rain. Often we do not understand farmers because we do not appreciate how important soil is. All the solutions, from our children's health to our health, climate and GDP, are based on the soil. Because everything human has achieved is related to the soil. Mandeshi began working on the main issues, which is soil, water and leaf testing laboratory, powered by the soil Saki model. In building this model, our community leader, our soil Saki, Vanita Pise, Varsha and Roshni are true heroes. They travel 50 to 60 kilometers in the hot weather visiting farms, collecting soil, leaf, and water samples, and training farmers on various projects. In our lab, we test for essential nutrients, including potassium, zinc, magnesium, and nitrogen. If the soil lacks these, it has a low organic matter, which can lead to poor health for poor people. Building on the importance of soil health, today we have around average carbon is around 0.5%. How are we going to grow anything in 0.5%? To have a healthy economy, we need healthy soil and strong markets for our farmers. Looking ahead, by 2050, we will need to grow twice as much of food as we have in the last 500 years. By 2030, there may be a food shortages. In India, there is an 8% reverse migration, especially with women, coming from urban area to now to rural area. Many lack sufficient experience and knowledge in farming. Given these challenges, farmers today needs knowledge of science, technology, chemistry, biology, and mathematics. Yet many farmers have not gone to college or even to school. Recognizing this gap, we asked some of our farmers, how can we expect them to grow hundreds of healthy plants without the help of science and technology? To address that, through Soil Sakis, we are offering Sheti Shala training, exposure visits, expert visits. Along with that, we train our farmer to produce their own fertilizers, reducing their dependency and going for export produce. I'm proud to say we are bringing biogas systems, soil sensors, and weather station with smart technology to our farmers with the help of Mandeshi Mahila Sahakari Bank, which will be financing them. Building on these training initiatives, Mandeshi has launched a new project called Women in Horticulture with MKCL Foundation. Through this initiative, we are helping women farmers learn the science and technology of farming, along with value-added products such as dried cereals, pomegranate juice, and pomegranate peel powder with NRCP, which is the National Research Center for Pomegranate in India. For example, Rahul and Sonali Chirme learned how to test their soil and understand their crops. Now they're teaching their laborers how to prune and plant technically. This includes covering shapes, chemicals, and plant diseases. Horticulture laborers earn 30% more than the other farmer laborers. We have already started training our farm laborers in technical skills, contributing to higher wages and new opportunities. Despite these advancements, a limited understanding of science and technology has significantly hindered the rise of sugarcane in cereals. We need to provide more food for our people so they can grow and work together. Sugarcane cereals are important for feeding developing nations, huge population, but there are much bigger impacts on human health, particularly in anemia and stunting. Cereals provide energy but lack of iron and zinc. If the labor force stops eating lentils, proteins, and vegetables, we will see an increase in anemia in the poor population. And among their children is stunting. To further explain why crop choices matter, consider that sugarcane is a heavy feeder. It sucks nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium from the deep soil. As a result, within 2 to 3 years, the natural organic carbon, that is the fuel of the soil, will drop below the critical 0.5% level. Organic carbon, sugarcane takes around 2,000 to 3,000 liters of water for 1 kg of sugar. In Maharashtra, groundwater extraction already exceeds 53%. In response to these environmental and economic challenges, I feel proud of my soil sakis and the entire agri team. We have helped farmers to choose the right crop for their soil through soil testing. And more than 800 hectares of sugarcane and wheat have been shifted to horticulture because of Mandeshi's program. Crops like pomegranate, grapes, mulberry, guava, and custard apple, which requires 30% less water than sugarcane and wheat. Our soil sakis conduct pre- and post-testing of fields to assess chemical fertilizer content and crop yield. Verifying reductions and improvements, as a result, we have reduced more than 1,500,000 kgs of fertilizers through regular testing and agronomic support. All figures and increased in income were verified through farm surveys and regular interviews, while the economic contribution calculation was based on actual market data collected from districts and the farmers. Carbon emission reductions were estimated with the support of our lab's environmental auditors using government-approved versions, which is around to 988 tons of carbon emission reduction has been done through the program. Continuing with our commitment to sustainable farming, I want to thank Mr. Halbe Saib, who is not present here today, for supporting Mandeshi and our special insect lab. This project marks another important step we are building for the launch, for the sub-launch of the new lab in Maharashtra to help farmers grow crops without harmful chemicals. Usually people worry about chemicals only for export. Mandeshi wants all citizens in India to have a safe crop. Maintaining this spirit of collaboration, I have noticed a shift. These days when I visit farms, farmers say that HSBC women had come to test our soil, which is very interesting. The work HSBC has done for the soil will be remembered for a long time. I'm grateful to HSBC for helping our climate and our communities. Reflecting on our journey, someone once asked me, what are we failing at? I always feel we are failing to build people with good hearts. We are failing to grow better humans. HSBC has helped us to grow farmers who care for the soil, the climate, and nature. Looking at our next steps, Mandesh is helping the soil and empowering farmers. Together, I think we can fight the most important issue, that is the food shortage that is going to arrive by 2030. Thank you.
Thanks, Karan. And just to echo what Karan mentioned, I think sometimes when you're close to the communities, you have a sense of what would work, what would not work for the communities. But it takes exceptional generosity for people to be sitting 300 kilometers away and still know that we trust you to know best, to know what your communities need best and get behind that vision. So thank you so much for HSBC's support. To the work that we've done over the last 25 years means so much to us, and to transition now from, also support simultaneously the work that we're doing in agriculture. So thank you so much, Sonali, for joining us today. So again, thank you, Karan, for grounding us in why this work matters. Now, I think doing the work on ground is one thing that Mandeshi is great at, and that's what we take pride in. But sometimes in the middle of all this work, what gets left behind is how do we measure this impact and how do we report it to our dear funders? Because so much of the change that we are creating is qualitative, and that's not always easy to translate into numbers, or we try to get them into stories. So we had the amazing team from Reconstruct who collaborated with us. They made visits to Maswad. None of them spoke Marathi, but they made every effort to talk to our farmers in Hindi. And I hope they picked up a bit of Marathi along the way. So now I'd like Danielle, the founder of Reconstruct, to come and tell us a little about how did you structure this. And all of you have a wonderful gift bag on your chest. That's for you. That's made by the women of Mandeshi's textile unit in Pune. Vanita ji is here. She leads that textile unit. And it's got the report, which is the impact report. I'll ask you to hold a bit to not open it, though it can be very tempting to do so. We also have a report that was inaugurated last year in January. That's a report about how, with 1 year of HSBC support, we are not talking about farmers from the perspective of poverty, but prosperity, and how so many of the farmers are now proudly calling themselves millionaire. They're all lakpati farmers. So we have a few of those stories as well, which would be interesting for some of you all to read. And we have pomegranates, fresh from Maswad, fresh from Man Taluka, I should say. We have Rajiv sir here from the National Research Center for Pomegranates, whose team has been working exceptionally hard with our farmers to help them adopt the science that's needed to cultivate the fruits that you see today. We also have some interesting value-added products that the farmers have now worked on. The dried aerials, very tasty, do try them. Pomegranate peel, which we've been told are very healthy and is now a rage in Mumbai. So please feel free to taste those and pick up whatever you like. But yeah, over to you, Daniel. Thank you.
Everyone, and good morning. Thank you for taking the time to come here tonight to facilitate this report that we have made in collaboration with Mandeshi. My name is Daniel. I am the founder of Reconstruct Sustainable Solutions. It is a social and environmental organization working in sustainability. So to jump right in, the purpose of this report was to kind of capture the good work that Mandeshi has already been doing in the climate and agriculture space. And we wanted to capture this impact through storytelling, like how Anaga mentioned, case studies, and help them understand what are the gaps that are there in the program and how we can fill those gaps to kind of drive further impact. When considering how to put together the report, we brainstormed a lot in terms of how do we actually capture this impact. So we took a purpose-driven multi-framework approach, because the stakeholders for this report were very many different kinds of groups of people. And we used multiple frameworks to tell the story of the Climate Action and Agriculture Program. There were 4 main initiatives under the program. So the report is divided into each initiative, and then we talked about how those initiatives have their own impact and how they are connected with each other. In terms of methodology, we wanted to capture some primary data ourselves and go into the field and meet with farmers, hear their stories, hear from them firsthand in terms of how they think the program can be improved. We used supplementary data that was provided to us by Mandeshi Foundation. And we used journals and scientific research papers to kind of validate the data that we were seeing on ground. As well as industry experts to kind of, again, validate the work that we had seen happen on ground. In terms of challenges that we faced, one was that farmers were a bit hesitant to share information so as to not be excluded from the program. So we had to build a bit of trust and rapport with them when we met them, which helped. It was helpful for that Mandeshi was present with us. Like Anagha mentioned, we didn't speak Marathi, so the language barrier was definitely a challenge. The other challenge that we faced was that the beneficiaries of the program were distributed around 200 villages, and we had a very short period of time within which we could capture the primary data. There was also, since this was the first year of the program, there were a few data gaps which we needed to work around. So how we structured the report is that we did it on a sample database. Based on the data that was available, how can we weave a narrative, a compelling narrative to talk about the impact that we were seeing on ground. We also wanted the report to be available in Marathi because, like I said, it was a multi-stakeholder report, so that the farmers themselves could see and read their stories and hear from other farmers from other villages or other talukas in terms of what their experience was. In the primary data that we collected, a key takeaway that farmers shared in terms of their experience, the team shared in terms of their experience, was that like farming, the soil testing was also seasonal. So during the pre-sowing period, there was a high demand for soil tests and for a soil test to be received in a short period of time. So one of their asks, which I think is something that is a work in progress, was that the agriculture lab needed to have some sort of capacity building to be able to deal with the influx of reports that they needed to, the influx of samples that they needed to process. In terms of the farmers that we met with farmers who had done soil testing, and we also met with farmers who had not done soil testing. We wanted to understand from farmers who had done soil testing what was their experience, and with farmers who had not done soil testing, what were their reservations. A key takeaway that farmers shared in terms of their experience with soil testing is that they felt more hopeful about farming post-soil testing. They felt supported by scientists. They felt like they were feeling more empowered altogether. They also saw a reduction in the cost of fertilizer based on the advice that was given to them by agronomists, which is a bottom line impact. And they also saw an increase in yield as well as a better quality of produce. So that was able to help them fetch a better price in the market. In terms of asks by the farmers, they wanted the report in a quicker turnaround time. Like I mentioned, the soil testing is seasonal, and so what would happen was the farmers need to sow before a certain period of time. So they would have already sown their crops before they got the crop schedule. So so this was all again tied into what the team was also saying in terms of capacity building. For farmers who had not done soil testing, we noticed that it was largely farmers who did not own land themselves, or there was a severe water shortage and therefore they were not able to farm. In terms of the frameworks that we used multiple frameworks that you'll be able to see in the report that you have received. One was a triple bottom line framework. So in this triple bottom line framework, we looked at what is the social impact, what is the environmental impact, and what is the economic impact of each one of the four main initiatives under the Agriculture and Climate Action Program. We also used an SDG, the UN Sustainability Development Goals framework, to kind of benchmark the initiatives that Mandeshi is undertaking with global standards and global goals. We used the theory of change framework. In this framework, we essentially wanted to connect the input, so the work that Mandeshi is doing, with their desired output. And we created an impact map. It's essentially a flow chart which talks about how each of the initiatives, how they are connected to each other, what is the impact of each initiative, and how does that feed into Mandeshi's overall goal of community empowerment. Lastly, we also used government frameworks and policies to kind of benchmark the program's goal, the program's impact on a more local level. We also did a carbon emission calculation primarily based on the reduction in fertilizer use. And we did this based on the GHG protocol using an IPCC framework. All of these numbers and all of these processes are also included in the appendix of the report. Lastly, there is still quite a long way to go. When we met with farmers, over 80% of farmers said that they would not want their children to become farmers. And like Karan mentioned, this will lead to a food security issue in the future. So we need to continue to support initiatives like Mandeshi's Agriculture and Climate Action Program that are doing exemplary work on ground, helping support farmers and helping make farming more profitable. Thank you.
For the framework. Now let's actually hear from the team that's practicing all of this on the ground, because like both Karan and Daniel echoed, young people embracing agriculture, the numbers are reducing, but we have so many young people in our team who are now doing that, and I'd just like to welcome a few of them to come and tell you about the program as a whole. So we have Ajinkya, who is the program manager and agronomist. We have Poonam, who is the program coordinator for the soil sakis, also an agronomist. And our wonderful intern who's been with us for 6 months now, Laura, who is known across our village as the white girl with 800 cows, but she's been a sport about it. So welcoming all of them here to tell you more about the program.
This is a small part of our team. We're very excited to have you today. Poonam, the coordinator, will be introducing our soil sakis, our beautiful soil sakis and their work. After we'll go over a little overview of the program and what we've done and achieved over these 2 last years. Then Ajinkya will talk about our program and some new initiatives that we're looking to implement. Yeah. Now I'll get to Poonam and introduce the soil sakis.
Hello, good morning. My name is Poonam Lokhande. I'm the coordinator of Soil Saki from 4 years. All of says ki Soil Sakis. I think you all of know about what is the Soil Saki. The Soil Saki means the friend of soil and farmers. And the role and responsibilities of the Soil Saki is the collecting soil samples, then given to farmer to soil reports and crop schedules, create awareness between soil testing center to farmers. That all the roles of soil sakis. Now we see who is the soil sakis. Firstly introduced to Varsha ma'am.
नमस्कार, माझं नाव वर्षा खांडेकर, राहणार लोणार खडकी, तालुका मान, जिल्हा सातारा. मी गेले 5 वर्ष झालं मानदेशी फाउंडेशन सोबत काम करते आणि आता 3 वर्ष झालं मी सॉइल सकी प्रोजेक्टमध्ये काम करते आणि 5 सॉइल सकींचं मी कोऑर्डिनेटरचं काम करते. माझे कोऑर्डिनेशनचं काम करत करत 400 सॅम्पल झालेत, 227 आवर एक्सपोजर विजिट झालेत, 2000 शेतकऱ्यांपर्यंत मी पोहोचले आणि 700 महिलांना आम्ही बीज प्रक्रियाचं ट्रेनिंग दिलं.
माझं नाव सुजाता माने, राहणार मसवड. मी 8 वर्ष झालं फाउंडेशनमध्ये काम करते आणि आत्ता 3 वर्ष सॉइल सखी म्हणून सिनियर सॉइल सखी म्हणून काम करते. मी आत्तापर्यंत 400 सॉइल, 37 पेटीवर आणि 9 पाणी सॅम्पल कलेक्ट केलेत आणि 1635 शेतकऱ्यापर्यंत मी पोहोचले. माझ्या अंडर एक सॉइल सखी आहे आणि मी 4 तालुक्यात काम करते, मान, खटाव, माळशिरस, इंदापूर.
नमस्कार, माझं नाव शीतल तानाजी काळे, मी राहणार वडूज तालुका, खटाव, जिल्हा सातारा. 2 वर्ष झाले मी मानदेशी फाउंडेशनमध्ये सॉइल सखी म्हणून काम करते. तर आत्तापर्यंत मी 85 गावामध्ये काम केले, 700 सॅम्पल मी घेतलेत. आणि आता मी एक सिनियर सॉईल सखी म्हणून मानदेशीमध्ये काम करते. तसंच मी 85 गावामध्ये काम केलेलं आहे आणि 2000 शेतकऱ्यापर्यंत मी पोहोचलेले आहे.
माझं नाव रोशनी काळेल. माझं गाव पर्यंती, तालुका मान, जिल्हा सातारा. आतापर्यंत मी 50 गावामध्ये काम केलं आहे. त्यामध्ये 3 तालुक्यात मी काम केलं आहे, मान, आटपाडी आणि माळशिरस तालुक्यामध्ये. आणि आतापर्यंत मी 1200 शेतकऱ्यांपर्यंत पोचले आणि माझे सॅम्पल 400 झाले. थँक्यू.
नमस्कार, माझे नाव देवकी सागर आयवळे. मी आटपाडी या भागात सॉईल सखी म्हणून काम करते. मी आता 3 महिना झालं सॉईल सखी म्हणून काम करते. मी वर्षा मॅडमच्या अंडरखाली काम करते. मला खरंच खूप छान वाटतंय काम करून. आणि आटपाडी तालुक्यात सगळ्यात जास्त डाळिंबाचे शेतकरी आहेत आमच्या इकडे. त्याच्यामुळं जास्तीत जास्त आम्हाला उत्साह वाटतो ना, सॅम्पल पण तसे येतात. आणि आतापर्यंत माझे 58 सॉईल सॅम्पल झालेत, 17 पाणी सॅम्पल झालेत आणि 3 पेट्रोल सॅम्पल झाले. आणि इथून पुन्हा पण आम्ही चांगलं काम करू.
मी माया नामदास, राहणार विरळी, तालुका मान, जिल्हा सातारा. मी 2 महिने झालं सॉईल सखी म्हणून काम करते.
माझे नाव मनीषा संजय विभूते, राहणार माडगुळे, तालुका आटपाडी, जिल्हा सांगली. मी आता 1 महिना झाले जॉईन झाले मानदेशी फाउंडेशनमध्ये. थँक्यू.
अभी हमने देखा कि सॉइल सखी का रोल क्या है, इन सब ने इंट्रोड्यूस भी किया. तो अब सब सॉइल सखी ने और हम सब सॉइल सेंटर ने मिलके जो काम किया है, जैसे कि ये हमारा इम्पैक्ट रिपोर्ट है. इसमें हमारा टोटल जो हमने सॉइल रिपोर्ट्स जनरेट किए और फार्मर को दिए वो 2000 से ऊपर है. वाटर सैंपल का भी हमने बहुत सारे रिपोर्ट्स दिए हैं, पेट्रोल का भी किया है. टोटल हम मतलब 12,000 फार्मर तक पहुँचे अभी तक. ये हमारा टोटल इम्पैक्ट का रिपोर्ट है. इसमें हम टोटल 5 डिस्ट्रिक्ट में काम करते हैं, सातारा, सांगली, सोलापुर, पुणे, कोल्हापुर, ऐसे हमारे 5 डिस्ट्रिक्ट है. और हम अभी तक 239 विलेजेस में हमने टोटल काम किया है. सॉइल सैंपल कलेक्शन करना, अवेयरनेस मीटिंग लेना, फार्मर्स के ट्रेनिंग लेना, और हम फार्मर को एक्सपोजर विजिट्स के लिए बाहर भी लेके जाते हैं. ये सब हमारे प्रोग्राम के अंडर हम सब फार्मर को वर्किंग देते हैं. सब अभी फार्मर को हमारा फ़ायदा कैसे हुआ है, हम ये कैसे जान सकते हैं. हमने जब टोटल सर्वे किया तो इसमें हमें ओवरऑल एवरेज डेटा मिला है कि जो फार्मर का इनकम है वो 20% इंक्रीज़ हुआ है यील्ड में, और जो इनकम है वो 18% इंक्रीज़ हुआ है. ये सब कैसे हुआ, मतलब ये डेटा कैसे मिला, मतलब जो हम फर्टिलाइज़र का ज़्यादा यूज़ करते हैं तो फर्टिलाइज़र रिडक्शन इसमें ज़्यादा हुआ है. तो कितने हुआ है, 19% हमने डिक्रीज़ फर्टिलाइज़र का केजी में रिड्यूस किया है और 18% डिक्रीज़ इन फर्टिलाइज़र कॉस्ट में किया है. ये हमारा ओवरऑल ऑन एन एवरेज फार्मर का डेटा है. थैंक यू.
Thank you, madam. Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. Myself, Ajinkya Kulkarni. This is our data, and working of our data. Our center is not only the testing lab. This is the hub of complete service journey from village to the field. So, I will explain step by step what is the procedure of working of our soil testing center. We don't wait for the farmer to come to us. We go into the villages, arrange awareness meetings, attend gram sabhas, arrange community gatherings, and explain to the farmers why this testing is important. And we show them proof that how they can save thousands of rupees of doing testing, like various testings. Then our trained field staff like soil sakhis and agronomists, they collect the soil samples, water, petiole and organic fertilizer samples from the field. And then we do 4 types of soils, 4 types of testing. That is soil testing to check the nutrient level of the soil. We check the water to check irrigation quality of soil. Then petiole samples gives the actual nutrient content of the plant. And last one, that is organic fertilizer testing, which gives the organic matter content in organic fertilizers prepared by the farmers. So after that, our trained field staff send samples to the lab. Then our technicians, lab technicians analyze each and every samples through standardized protocols and equipments which we have in our soil lab. Then after the testing, our agronomist on basis of the soil testing reports prepare a crop specific fertilizer schedule and gives to the farmers and guide farmers, explain farmers how to use this schedule in their farm. And due to this, most of the farmers which give extra additional fertilizers, chemical fertilizers into their soil, which cut their cost. Then after analysis of the sample, our agronomist visits the field and suggests them how to our agronomist visits to the farmer and explain the schedule, implementation of the schedule. Each farmer gets at least 4 to 5 visits, depends upon each crops. Suppose the pomegranate crop, then farmer gets 4 to 5 visits in this Bahar season. And then we also train farmers with various topics covering silage preparation, then organic fertilizer preparation like Jivamrut, vermicompost bed preparation, then value addition in agriculture produce like production of anardana or production of moringa powder, etc., depending upon the need of the farmer. And then last, that is exposure visits. We take out the farmers from field to the visits of various research institutions like NRCP, VSI, then model farms, and where they come back with the new ideas and ambitions and adopt these advanced technologies to their farm. Okay. So this is one of our picture. There our soil saki explain or train the female woman farmers in the farm, maize farm specifically, on the avoidance of excess urea application in the soil. These photos highlights our farmer visits and exposure visits to the National Research Center of Pomegranate, and also on-field sessions on grape orchard management led by expert grape scientist Dr. Mangesh Bhaskar sir. So these are the our AI pomegranate plot. Then we also held a unique AI farmer Melawa in collaboration with MKCL. In this Melawa, 223 participating farmers provided practical demonstration on how to use ChatGPT and Gemini to assist in a daily agriculture decisions making in operations. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Quickly about a new program we want to launch. We noticed that over the participation, we have a very good participation of women overall, but they're mainly concentrated in community-based initiatives, and less in the more technical impact we want to have. So based on this, we want to start a Women in Horticulture Learning Center at Mandeshi. This will be in collaboration with MKCL, and it would be a 7-month program. We want to launch a pilot for 20 to 30 women. And they would be learning about more practical agronomy skills, but also how to use technology and post-harvest production.
So much. And now that I'm sorry, ma'am, in the interest of time, can we just keep questions towards the end? Okay. So now that we know what the work is like, we'd like to hear from some of the people on the other side, the farmers, the soil sakis. So that brings us to the first panel for today. May I request Karan and 2 of our bold and beautiful soil sakis, Varsha and Sheetal, and 2 of our farmers, Archana Babar and Asavari Kulkarni, to quickly come on stage so that we can begin with the panel. I would like everybody to really cheer for them, because we're all sitting in an AC room today, and these are women, these are farmers who are toiling in heat as stressful as 45 degrees. That's not easy. So let's take some time to listen to them. Also, as all of you may know, everybody has a heart language, and that's why this conversation will be facilitated in Marathi. Wherever they can speak in Hindi, we can ask them to speak in Hindi, but yeah, Karan, if you could translate and let them speak in Marathi if they are comfortable.
Yeah, I'll keep my even my discussion in Marathi. so they'll also understand. So sorry for those who will have little difficulties understanding Marathi because his accent is little different. तर मी सुरुवात करतो सॉईल सखींपासून. मला वर्षाताई तुम्ही सांगा की तुमचं काम कसं असतं, म्हणजे दररोज तुम्ही काय, म्हणजे सकाळी उठल्यानंतर किती वाजता तुमचं काम सुरू होतं आणि कशा पद्धतीचं असतं?
सकाळी उठल्यानंतर सकाळी 9:45 घरातलं सगळं आवरायचं. त्यानंतर ऑफिसला यायचं. ऑफिसला आम्ही आठवड्याचं जर सोमवारी प्लॅनिंग करतो की आपल्याला नवीन गावात कोणत्या गावात जायचं आहे, कोणत्या गावात फळबागात जास्त आहेत, कुठल्या शेतकऱ्यांना आपली माती परीक्षण करून त्यांचा फायदा होईल, म्हणजे त्यांना उपयोग होईल की आपले रासायनिक खतांचे खर्च वगैरे कमी होतील, असे गाव निवडून आम्ही त्या गावात पहिल्यांदा अवेअरनेस मीटिंग लावतो. त्यानंतर शेतकऱ्यांना कॉल वगैरे करतो आणि शेतकऱ्यांना माती परीक्षणाची माहिती पटवून देतो.
तुम्हाला असं कधी असं वाटलं का की ह्या मातीमध्ये फरक आहे आणि दुसऱ्या मातीमध्ये फरक आहे, म्हणजे तुम्ही एवढ्या वर्ष काम करताय आणि त्या मातीतला फरक बघून तुम्हाला असं समजतं की ते शेतकऱ्याला माहिती आहे का शेतकऱ्याला माहितीच नाही, असं काय एखादा उदाहरण तुम्ही देऊ शकता की तुम्हीच तो प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्व्ह केला? मी समजू शकतो की तुमची शिक्षण नाही झालं ॲग्रिकल्चर BSc मध्ये, पण तुम्हाला तर एवढा अभ्यास झाला असेल की तुम्हाला असं कुठलं एखादं उदाहरण आहे का की तुम्ही ते पाहिलं आणि तुम्हाला असं वाटलं की नाही मी हे शेतकऱ्याला चांगल्या पद्धतीने सॉल्व्ह करून देऊ शकते?
आता आमचा मान तालुका म्हणजे दुष्काळी भाग आहे आणि ह्या दुष्काळी भागात खरं तर पाण्याची कमतरता कमी आहे. तर आमच्या भागात असं निदर्शनास आलं की माती परीक्षण करून आमच्या इथं फळबागांची लागवड चांगल्या पद्धतीने होऊ शकते कमी पाण्यात ठिबकवरती. आणि जिथं काळ्या मातीच्या जमिनी आहेत त्या ठिकाणी डाळिंब बागा जास्त येऊ शकत नाहीत, कारण त्याला निमेटोड वगैरे रोग येण्याची लक्षणं असतात.
पण तुम्हाला असं कुठला एखादा मातीचं तुम्ही फरक सांगू शकला जो शेतकऱ्याला माहिती नव्हता बघून? पण
असं म्हणजे एका शेतकऱ्याने आमच्या आंबा लावला होता आणि त्यांचा आंबा सतत जळत होता, पण ते त्यांचं जी माती होती ती त्या मातीत चुनखडीचं प्रमाण जास्त होतं आणि हे त्या शेतकऱ्याच्या ते आंबा पीक का जळते हे लक्षात येत नव्हतं. ज्यावेळेस आम्ही मातीचा रिपोर्ट पाहिला त्यावेळेस त्यांच्या मातीत चुनखडीचं प्रमाण जास्त आहे आणि त्याच्यामुळे तो पिकाला घातक आहे हे सांगितलं.
शीतलताईंकडे यायचंय. तुम्ही दररोजचा किती किलोमीटरचा प्रवास असतो तुमचा?
माझा दररोजचा तरी जवळजवळ 30 ते 40 किलोमीटरचा प्रवास असतो. म्हणजे 30 किलोमीटर जाणं आणि 30 किलोमीटर येणं हा आमचा प्रवास चालू असतो दररोजचा.
60 किलोमीटरचा.
60 किलोमीटरचा.
भीती वाटते का रस्त्यावरून? कारण एवढ्या सगळ्या शेतकऱ्यांना भेटायचं असतं, टाईमवरती लॅबला सॅम्पल गेलं पाहिजे. जरा त्यातल्या अडचणी मला सांगा की तुमच्या कामामध्ये तुम्हाला काय अडचणी येतात ग्राउंडवरती?
आता एकतर कसं असतं, म्हणजे गाव नवीन असतं, बरं तिथं त्या गावात आमच्या ओळखीचं पण कोण नसतं, पण तिथं त्या गावात जाणं, ओळख निर्माण करून घेणं, त्यात बऱ्याच अडचणी पण आम्हाला येतात. पण कसं आमचं काम करण्याची वरती म्हणजे पॉझिटिव्हली जसं आम्हाला शेतकऱ्यांबरोबरच पूर्ण काम करायचं आहे, तर म्हणजे ज्या अडचणी आल्या त्यावरती मात आम्ही करून पण पुढं शेतकऱ्यांना माती परीक्षणाची माहिती सांगतो.
मला अर्चनाताईंकडे यायचं आहे. तुम्ही आंबा उगवता, सेंद्रिय पद्धतीने उगवता, किती कष्ट असतात तो शेतकऱ्यासाठी, म्हणजे मातीपासून ते मार्केटपर्यंत?
कष्ट म्हटलं तर ते सगळ्याच गोष्टीत आहे, मातीपासून बाजारपेठेपर्यंत. कारण माती आम्ही जरी त्यात लहानाचं मोठं झालो असलो तरी आम्हाला माहीत नव्हता की मातीत पण खजिने जीवनसत्व वगैरे असतात. म्हणजे आम्ही त्या बाबतीत अशिक्षितच होतो, पण मानदेशीमुळे त्यांच्या माती परीक्षणामुळं आम्हाला समजलं की मातीला सुद्धा जीवनसत्वाची गरज आहे. जर मातीच कुपोषित असेल तर झाडं कशी चांगली येतील आणि मग त्यांना फळं कशी चांगली येतील. आणि मातीचं म्हटलं तर आम्हाला मानदेशी फाउंडेशनचं जे सॉईल सखी आहेत वर्षा मॅडम, ह्यांनी आमच्या बागेत येऊन माती वगैरे परीक्षण केलं आणि आम्हाला समजलं की आमच्या मातीत चुनखडीचं प्रमाण जास्त आहे. आम्ही आमच्या आंब्याची केशर आंब्याची बाग आहे आणि ती रोपं आम्ही लावली होती 2015 साली, पण ती रोपच अशी वाढ घेत नव्हती. म्हणजे काही काहींची वाढ झाली मोठी आणि काही बारकी ती बारकीच राहिली आणि काही तर जळूनच जायची जागेवर. मग जेव्हा माती परीक्षण केलं तेव्हा खरं का त्याचं कारण समजलं, पण आम्हाला ते कारण समजायला 7 वर्ष लागली. पण नशीब की आम्हाला मानदेशी फाउंडेशनची साथ लाभली आणि आमचं जे पुढचं आम्ही लागवड केली ती एकदम योग्य व्यवस्थित केली. आणि मग आता आमची जी 3 एकर क्षेत्र आम्ही जे नवीन लागवड केले 2023 साली, ती सगळी एकसारखी झाडं आहेत, अशी दृष्ट लागण्यासारखी झाडं आहेत, मस्त झाडं आहेत आमची.
दृष्ट लागण्यासारखी म्हणजे काय? दृष्ट लागण्यासारखी म्हणजे काय?
म्हणजे अशी नजर नजर असं.
पण मला आता म्हणजे हा प्रश्न तुम्ही पण घेऊ शकता आणि हा पण घेऊ शकता. मला आकडेवारी मला लक्षात येते. सरकारचा जो आकडा आहे, दररोज महाराष्ट्रात 7 ते 8 शेतकरी आत्महत्या करतात. म्हणजे आता तुम्ही आंबा उगवताय, वाटाणा उगवत असाल, आपल्या कुळकजाईमध्ये वेगवेगळ्या भाज्यापाल्या तुम्ही उगवत असाल, पण हा आकडा ऐकल्यानंतर काय वाटतो? म्हणजे आता तुम्ही शेतात आहेत, दररोज उन्हात असता, तुम्ही काम पण करता, आणि मग बातमी येते फोनवरती की कोणी आत्महत्या केली. हे ऐकल्यानंतर तुमच्या मनामध्ये पहिलं विचार काय येतो?
प्रथमतः म्हणजे आत्महत्या करण्याचं कारण म्हणजे त्यांचं अशिक्षित आणि म्हणजे शेतीविषयी अशिक्षितता, प्लस दुसरी गोष्ट म्हणजे त्यांचं जास्त कर्ज, आणि म्हणजे जास्त करून ते रासायनिक खतं वापरतात. रासायनिक खतं खूप महाग असतात. तुम्ही सेंद्रिय शेतीकडे वळा. सेंद्रिय शेती एकदम स्वस्त आहे. आम्ही 3-4 वर्ष झालं मान फाउंडेशनशी जोडलेलो आहोत. जसं करण सरांनी आम्हाला माती परीक्षणाचं माहिती किंवा महत्त्व सांगितलं, त्याच्यानंतर आम्ही माती परीक्षण केलं आणि दरवर्षी आम्ही माती परीक्षण करतो. आम्हाला ते रिपोर्ट समजून सांगतात. त्याप्रमाणे आमची खतांचं, जे शेतकरी खतासाठी किंवा बियाण्यांसाठी जे कर्ज घेतं, ते कर्ज न घेता तुम्ही जर माती परीक्षण केल्यानंतर जर कमी खर्चात तुमची शेती होत असेल तर तुम्ही कर्ज घेऊ, म्हणजे तुमची जर शेती खर्चच कमी होतोय तर मग तुम्ही कर्ज घेणारच नाही, मग आत्महत्या करणारच नाही ना शेतकरी. उलटा त्याची प्रगती जास्तीत जास्त होती आहे. आणि प्रत्येक म्हणजे पदोपदी मान फाउंडेशन हे तुम्हाला शिक्षण द्यायला किंवा कुठलीही तुमची ही असेल गरज असेल तर ती सॉर्ट आउट करायला मान फाउंडेशन समर्थ आहे. त्यामुळे मानदेशीय महिला बँक किंवा मान फाउंडेशन हे खूप सगळ्यांना मदत करतं. मग तुम्ही आत्महत्या का करताय? आणि तुम्ही सुज्ञान व्हा, तुम्ही शेतीतली सगळी माहिती घ्या, ज्ञान घ्या. चांगले ज्ञान घेतल्यानंतर शेती खूप छान पद्धतीने येते.
नाही, तो मुद्दा बरोबर आहे. हां, मला तुमच्याकडून पण ऐकवतं. हे सॉल्व्ह करण्याचं म्हणत नाही मी. आपल्याला काही प्रॉब्लेम लगेच सॉल्व्ह होणार नाही. तो 8 करतायत तर उद्या 12 पण करतील आत्महत्या, असं काही नाही आहे. पण हे ऐकल्यानंतर मनामध्ये काय होतं? कारण आपण सगळे शेतकरी आहोत ना, सगळ्यात जास्त तोच आत्महत्या करतोय.
ऐकल्यानंतर मनाला असं चरका बसतो की म्हणजे डोळ्यापुढे ते चित्र येतं. जर तो पुरुष असेल तर त्यावेळेस त्याचे आई वडील दिसतात. आणि म्हणजे कोणताही व्यक्ती जाऊ द्या त्या घरातला, तर ते घर म्हणजे नाही पुन्हा प्रगती करू शकत. मग ते म्हणजे ते पूर्ण घर असं संपुष्टातच येतं मी म्हणेन. आणि आत्महत्या ही काय शेवटची पायरी नाही आहे. जसा दिवस मावळतो तसा दिवस उगवतो पण. आणि शेतकऱ्यांनी हे पाऊल उचलू नयेच असं मी म्हणेन. पण शेतकरी हे पाऊल का उचलतो ह्याच्यासाठी खरंच खोलात जाणं खूप गरजेचं आहे. कारण त्याच्या पण अडचणी भरपूर असतात, त्याच्यासमोर पण भरपूर संकट निसर्गाची. पुन्हा माणसाने त्याच्यासाठी जी संकट, जी बाजारभावाबद्दल जी संकट जी निर्माण करून दिलेत, ते एक क्षण असा येतो की तो खचतो. आणि तो खरंच शेतकरी खचला नाही पाहिजे ह्यासाठी ना प्रत्येकाने धडपड केली पाहिजे. मग असं नाही मी म्हणणार की ते फक्त सरकारचंच काम आहे. माणसाने स्वतःचं पण मनोबल वाढवलं पाहिजे. जर आज दिवस मावळलाय तर तो दिवस उगवेल आणि उद्याचा पॉझिटिव्ह नक्कीच ही होईल. कारण आमचे गेले 2018 पासून म्हणजे 1 वर्षाआड 2 वर्षाआड आमचं नुकसान होतंयच. एक मराठीत आमच्या कविता आहे, सर मी सांगू का? मोडून पडला संसार तरी मोडला नाही कणा, फक्त पाठीवरती हात ठेवून लढ म्हणा. ही एक कविता आहे. म्हणजे तुम्ही बळ द्या, फक्त बळ द्या. त्या शेतकऱ्याला फुल नाही, फुलाची पाकळी प्रत्येकाच्या हातात आहे. म्हणजे मार्केटमध्ये घेऊन जा, तुम्ही भाजीची पेंडी घेताय ना, घासाघीस करू नका. त्याच्याकडनं योग्य दरात घ्या आणि सरकारने पण त्याला योग्य दर द्या. कारण हे ऊन बघताय, आपण इथे सगळे एसीत बसलोय, पण ह्या उन्हात ना आम्ही आमची लेकरं बाळं घेऊन काम करतो. आणि इथे मी सगळ्यांना विनंती करीन की हे टोकाचं पाऊल खरंच कुणीच उचलू नका, ना स्त्रीने ना पुरुषाने.
तुम्ही तुमच्या दोघांनाही मला प्रश्न आहे की आता तुम्ही तंत्रज्ञान वापरून शेती करताय आणि तुमच्या शेतामध्ये किती टन माल निघाला? हा, आता ह्या वर्षी तुमचं कुठलं पीक होतं? आता
आमचा वाटाणा होता.
वाटाणा होता. किती निघाला वाटाणा?
ह्या वर्षी आम्हाला 2000 क्विंटल माल
2000 क्विंटल निघाला. आणि त्याला सरासरी त्याची खर्च पकडून किती तुमचं उत्पन्न किती निघालं त्याचं?
आमचा सरासरी खर्च आमचा जाता आम्हाला 80 ते 90 म्हणजे 1 लाख रुपये आम्हाला खर्च जात होता सगळा. पण आम्हाला 2.5 ते 3 लाख रुपये 2.5 ते 3 महिन्यात मिळत होते. हे नोकरदाराला पण इतके मिळत नाहीत इतके आम्हाला 2.5 ते 3 महिन्यात वाटाण्या पिकात मिळतात. आणि ह्या वर्षी हायेस्ट रेट होता 145 रुपये किलो. आमच्या गावातनं वाटाणा घेऊन जात होते, मार्केटला 200 रुपयांनी जात होता वाटाणा.
तुम्हाला असं वाटतं की नोकरी करण्यापेक्षा शेतीच तुम्हाला बरी वाटते?
हो. आणि ह्याच्यात म्हणजे आपण आपले मालक असतो. कामाला जायचं म्हणजे रोज सकाळी उठून डबा करून सगळ्या घरातली जबाबदारी सांभाळून कामावर जायचं, दिवसभर काम करून परत संध्याकाळी येऊन घरात काम करायचं. पण शेतात तसं नाही. शेतात तुम्ही थोडा वेळ बसू शकता, विश्रांती घेऊ शकता आणि परत आपणच करणार आहे काम. त्यामुळं आपण करू त्यावेळेस होण्यासारखं आहे, तसं काही हे नाही.
तुम्ही आंबाचा तुमचा मुंबईला पण आहे. मी यांचा आंबा खरं मी खूप इथल्या लोकांना पण आम्ही पाठवलेला आहे आंबा यांचा. वन ऑफ द बेस्ट फायनेस्ट मँगोज शी इज ग्रोईंग, केशर मँगो विथ ऑर्गॅनिक इनपुट्स इन इट. गेल्या वर्षीच्या उत्पन्नात किती भर आलात? म्हणजे आता मला माहिती आहे की मोहर वगैरे थोडं जळलं असेल, थोडं प्रोडक्शन ह्यावेळेस कमी आहे. पण गेल्या वर्षीच्या ह्याच्यामध्ये तुम्हाला असं काय वाटलं की एवढा आंबा जर आला तर पुढच्या पद्धतीने तुम्ही कसं काम करचाल आंबा अजून तुमचा वाढवण्यासाठी किंवा त्याला चांगला मार्केट दर भेटण्यासाठी?
आमचं गेले 2 वर्ष झालं चांगलं उत्पन्न निघतंय. म्हणजे एक 9 टनाच्या आसपास आम्ही जातोय. आणि
एकरी आहे का 2 एकरात?
2 एकरात 9 टन माल निघतोय आमचा. पण कसं आहे, आमचं थोडंसं अशिक्षितपणा म्हणा, म्हणजे आम्हाला एवढं मार्केटबद्दल जास्त काही माहिती नाही आहे. मग आपला व्यापार येईल त्या हिशेबानंच मग तो जसा दर ठरवेल त्या पद्धतीनेच आमचा माल जातो. पण गेल्या वर्षी सरांनी आमच्याकडनं म्हणजे चव बघू ना घेतला होता आंबा, भरपूर आंबा घेतला होता.
या वर्षी पण घेणार?
बुडत्याला काडीचा आधार खरंच सरांनी दिलता आम्हाला. आणि आम्हाला म्हणजे आम्ही आता सेंद्रिय शेतीकडे वळलोय, म्हणजे विषमुक्त शेती आम्ही करतोय, पाऊल आम्ही चालू आहे. आणि आम्हाला म्हणजे फक्त आमच्या सातारा जिल्ह्यातल्या माणसांनाच फक्त आंबा नाही खायला घालायचा, तर पूर्ण भारतात आणि भारताच्या बाहेर सुद्धा आम्हाला आपल्या मानदेशाच्या आंब्याची चव माणसांना द्यायची आहे. मग त्याबद्दल आम्हाला थोडंसं मार्गदर्शन सर अजून करा तुम्ही, आणि मला माहिती तुम्ही करचाल.
Thank you. So I'll end this panel on this note. I just wanted to make sure that we are countering at the climate, because the way climate is going, it is very difficult for farmers. What I wanted to bring the topic today was the 44 degrees Celsius is a lot, and I can say that if you stand without a hat or without sunglasses in a 45-degree temperature on a barren land, it is like fainting. And these women are doing that, not caring for their health, because it is very difficult to work in the villages, understanding the soil, understanding the science behind it. Asavari ji comes from a village where it's on the top of the Man Taluka, where the Man Nadi is giving a birth to the water. And Archana Tai is living in one of the most drought places in Man Taluka. So it's two different villages we were talking. She's growing watana, she's growing mango, they are also coming toward pomegranates also. But the idea of this is that it is not easy to be a farmer. And that is why we wanted Mumbai people to understand that, what it goes. Because every day listening to suicides, it is not a fun part to be in that game. So thank you so much for everyone for coming here and listening to our soil sakis. And soil sakis is something part, which sometimes it's very insecure to be in a rural villages going on a bike. And they face so many issues and hurdles but they have there in mind, you know, my farmer is waiting for my soil to be brought to the lab. So the way they're communicating, and every Monday, as she said, that we have meetings every Monday, the first question we ask in Mandeshi's is like, did you feel insecure in this week? And that's how our meeting starts with Mandeshi's women. It's all about security, it's all about finance, and it is all about climate. Thank you.
Hello. Huh. I think that asking them to stand for a photograph is representative of how they are also on the ground, because they have no time for these formalities. They have absolutely no need for any of these fanfare. They're in there, they're quietly doing their job and helping, you know, put food on our tables. So thank you all once again. Thanks for those really heartfelt stories. To help us understand a little better and center us in the conversation today. Now, a lot has been spoken about the next generation, the new generation of farmers and the next generation of farmers. So one of the conversations we had, I think last year with Karan was when we were talking about, the Millionaire Farmer Report. We had these pictures in mind, and of course coming from a city, I blame myself for that the farmer is wearing a dhoti, the farmer is wearing his kurta, he has, dust and stains on his kurta because he's in the farm all day. And Karan said, you have a very outdated version of the farmer. You come to the field, you meet our farmers, they're dressed in tip-top shirts, pants, they have their iron clothes, they're so proud and they want that dignity when they carry it around. So, and same with the women. They dress up, they make every effort to meet you, and they're great hosts. If you ever go to their home, it is impossible that they will let you leave without your tummy full. So no formalities, but great hospitality. That's also one lesson from farmers that we've learned. So coming back to the new generation and the next generation of farmers, what is it going to take to make it happen? What are the skills that will be needed for this generation? So to have that conversation, we'd like to request the next panel. These are panelists who have been working on skilling farmers, young and old, both. So I would request the next panel, Veena Kamath from MKCL Knowledge Foundation, Vanita Shinde from Mandeshi Foundation, Rajiv Marathe from NRCP, National Research Center for Pomegranates, and Amit Sachdev from Indian Council of Grains. One thing when I was putting this panel's names together, I realized is, it is so generous that every single panelist on this panel has come from outside of Mumbai. We have Veena ji who's come from Pune, Vanita ji has come from Fulton in Satara, Rajiv sir has come from Solapur, and Amit ji has come all the way from Delhi. So thank you all so much for being so generous and traveling all the way to Mumbai for this. And this panel will be moderated by Manjir from Dasra Climate Rise Alliance. So requesting all of you to please come on stage.
That introduction. It is wonderful to be seated among such diverse voices, all of you with very deep experience in very different things in research, market, technology, implementation. So I think, as Anagha also mentioned, one of the key ideas that we want to explore through this discussion is how skilling becomes a bridge between innovation and adoption. And what we will try to unpack through this discussion is how we can further strengthen this bridge and make it more accessible to everyone. So to start with, Rajiv sir, where do you see is the biggest gap in what agricultural research says and what is practiced on ground by the farmers?
Okay. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Rajiv Marathe, Director, National Research Center on Pomegranate. This is one of the Institute of Indian Council of Agriculture. You might be knowing, ki headquarters is at Delhi, and this ICR is working on almost 100 crops actually, including almost all the crop. In Maharashtra, we are working on grape, pomegranate, then cotton is there, citrus is there, and almost we are covering almost all the fruit crop. And I am proud to be one of the director of this specially important crop, that is pomegranate, which is considered nowadays it is a dollar crop. because of its medicinal and antioxidant properties. And from last 2 years, we are working with Mandeshi Foundations. You are rightly pointed out because all the research organizations are have to face this type of questions actually. So yes, there is a gap and lot to be done in this field actually. But basically, being a research institute, our mandate is to involve ourselves in research. And I will like to share that we do have 25 scientists working on different aspects actually. And our mandate is whole India. And now, from last 4 to 5 years, pomegranate is coming up in almost all the states. Maharashtra was the leading state. Now, in addition to that, Gujarat is coming up very nicely. Rajasthan is there. Karnataka is also already there. So, these are the problems which are localized one actually. And we are basically stationed at Solapur. That is naturally our most of the research will confine to the whatever the agroclimatic condition prevailing in the Solapur condition. So, as you are rightly pointed out that there definitely there will be a gap. Another Karnataka is also there, Gujarat is there, language barrier is there. So, we have to work on that aspect actually. But I will also add to that this extension work is the state government subject actually. And if you will all start working on the extension aspect also, it will dilute our research aspect actually. So, but nowadays government is focusing on this aspect. And now we have to devote at least our 20% of our time on the extension activities. Recently we have this Viksit Bharat Krishi Sankalpa Abhiyan, where our Honorable Agriculture Minister forced us to be in the farmer field consistently for 15 days. So there is a gap and we are working on that thing. Another thing that nowadays this farmer perspective is being changing a lot actually. Being a scientist, we have to think about almost all the aspects. Sustainability is there, environmental aspects are there. But new generation farming community now they don't want to wait for that much period. Especially in fruit crop, the fruit bearing will start after 4 to 5 years. Now nobody wait for that. Immediately they want produce. They will be purchasing the plants having already 3 to 4 years of age. Within 15 months, they will harvest first crop. Then again, per unit cost also there. They want to utilize almost all their land. So they are adopting high density plantation. This practice they are adopting. So they are not worried about the incidence of pest and diseases. It is a well-known fact that with the incidence of this high density plantation, it will be that crop will be at risk. But they will not bother for that. They will have bumper production for 4 to 5 years. After that, literally you will separate, they will remove the plants and they will again replant it. So these are the changing practices nowadays, and being a research institute, we have to tackle all these things. Because this sustainability is the major issue for our research organizations.
Okay, thank you for that. Coming to Amit sir. From a global perspective, how can organizations like the US Grains Council work with some of these grassroots actors to build awareness of the scientific agricultural practices while also integrating that climate consideration in it?
Thank you. First, let me introduce myself and the organization. Thanks to Karan, Mandeshi for inviting us here. I have been to Satara and have met ma'am there and Karan and worked with some of the farmers. We had brought in a team from the US. So our organization as US Grains and Bioproducts Council is a farmer-driven organization. It is funded by the farmers in the US who grow corn, sorghum, barley and have been actively involved in production of ethanol also. Now, you are all driving cars today. The ethanol that is currently being used is actually grown by farmers. So that is the next gen product that the farmers grow. We're not talking about food alone, we're talking about fuel also. I have been with the council for the last 30 years, associated with the farmers, and when we are looking at the new set of things that the farmers would require, I think it's technology. I think that is something that is currently missing. I think people at Mandeshi have been working very closely with the farmers. Soil testing is something very important. The document here says 54,000 kgs of pesticide reduced. Fantastic. And I was hearing the lady in the morning, the farmer, who talked about poison-free farming. I do understand a little bit of Marathi, but so I think that is what the next step is. How can you reduce the amount of pesticide or chemicals in our system? So there are things that are available in the system, and which could create a circular economy. So let's take an example. If you are using biotechnology, I know it's very controversial to talk about biotechnology, but by using that technology, the productivity can increase, the amount of chemicals which are used in the system can be reduced. Now, step forward. The farmers in the US, they give their corn for ethanol production. The biochar that comes out from biomass can go back into the field as an organic fertilizer. So that's where the circular economy comes. As US Grains and Bioproducts Council, we are working very closely with the dairy industry. I know in Mandeshi area, you have in Maharashtra area, there are a lot of farmers. And we have been working with those farmers in Punjab, Haryana, and our next step is to set up a training institute for farmers. We don't know as yet where we are going to set up, but that's our next step. Upskilling farmers is very important. I think we don't want farmers to commit suicide because of whatever reasons, because they are the backbone of every economy. I'm not talking about US, India, or anywhere. Everywhere, farmer is the backbone. My background is agriculture and animal husbandry, so I know how it happens, what needs to be done at the farmer level. So I think very important, upskilling farmers as the systems change. Karan talked about climate change. Things are changing very fast. This year is going to be a hell of an El Nino year. Temperatures are going to go very high. How do we conserve our land? It's going to be dry. Temperatures would go very high. The monsoon would be erratic. What happens this year? Because it's not going to be only for this year, it's going to be a problem for 2027 as well. So we will have to upskill our farmers gradually. It cannot happen overnight. Even if we start today, maybe next 5 years, it will be easier for us. And that's what we work with the farmers, especially poultry industry and the dairy industry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. So Veena ma'am, I think sir talked about how technology has to become an integral part of this and upskilling is required. So I want to ask you, at a systems level, how do you think digital platforms and AI can help scale some of these agricultural skilling while also ensuring effectiveness on ground?
Thank you. First of all, hats off to all the soil sakis. Because probably this was their first time coming and speaking in front of so many people. तुमचं सगळ्यांचं मी कौतुक करते कारण तुमचे जे अनुभव आहेत सॉइल सखी जे ग्रामीण भागात काम करतात तुमचे अनुभव इतके धीटपणे तुम्ही इतक्या सगळ्या लोकांच्या समोर सांगितलं आणि एक विषय मी नेहमी पेपरमध्ये वाचते की आपण आत्महत्या शेतकऱ्यांच्या आत्महत्यांबद्दल वाचत असतो पुरुष आत्महत्या करतात पण स्त्रिया मात्र खूप कमी त्याचं प्रमाण आहे कारण स्त्रियांमध्ये एक वेगळी शक्ती आहे काहीतरी एक आहे ज्याच्यामुळे आपण हार मानत नाही त्यामुळे इथे सगळ्यांचं मनापासून कौतुक मानदेशी फाउंडेशन हॅज बीन डुईंग exemplary work. I had an opportunity to go and see some of their work and the way they have been empowering the women. You know, UN has recognized this year as the as the International Year for Women in Agriculture. It took till 2026 for them to recognize this. But Mandeshi, I think almost 50 years you all have been working under Chetna ma'am's guidance and she has really groomed a wonderful team. the women in the workforce in general in the corporate are now getting recognized. Although the percentage of women in the workforce in the corporates is still below 30%. I was managing director of Maharashtra Knowledge Corporation, and now I'm the CEO of our foundation. We take a lot of efforts to bring women and bring them in that position. In agriculture, that percentage is almost 70 to 80%. They are working in the hot sun with no recognition, possibly no education, whereas they are sticking the ground. They are not failing. At this time, what is it that we can do about skilling? And I would have some gradation that it is skilling, reskilling, and upskilling, because things are changing so rapidly. And with Maharashtra Knowledge Corporation, just to give some figures, we have a very strong base of about 5,000 authorized learning centers just in the state, and where we have provided digital skills to almost 1.8 crore people in this state through our course, that's MSCIT, Maharashtra State Certificate in Information Technology. And every student has paid from their pocket. So Maharashtra is on the international map in that sense. And our intent is to empower the youth by providing them these skills that are required of the 21st century. That's where I come to this point about what is technology, what kind of impact it is going to make. We are all aware that, and we are all facing the good and the bad side of AI. AI around the world, the big companies, everybody is saying that 3 main areas, while it's having a very horizontal impact, people are losing their jobs. We are reading in the newspaper all the time. Agriculture is one field where मला काही लोकांनी सांगितलं की शेतीमध्ये तुम्ही काम करा, तुमच्या हाताला नेहमी वर्षभर काम असणार आहे. So people are not going to lose their jobs, but we need to bridge the knowledge gap. That's where we come in. And what does that mean? AI is having main impact in healthcare in a positive way, in education, and the third area is going to be agriculture. And by that I mean that there's precision farming, there are drones, there are sensors, there are weather stations and whatnot. One of the main things that we have done, and Anagha, I think Anagha spoke about it, that we have we provided training to all the farmers in Man Taluka. That was very interesting. So we have created a GPT for farmers, which is an intelligent assistant that they can have in their pocket at all times 24/7. And that is in natural farming. So just a small correction, somebody said that we provided training in Gemini and I think Google, something Claude or something she said, but that's not what we did. Because what's happening is the moment you use Gemini to ask your questions about farming, like the farmers, if they start using it, they are going to get responses where they are going to be introducing more pesticides and fertilizers in their crops. That's not what we want to do. Agricultural science and all the scientists in this field are saying that soil is becoming extinct. Food security is coming up because soil quality is becoming extinct. So we are educating the farmers. We have hence created a GPT or a AI tool which we call Krishi Kranti, and we have been giving it free of cost to all the farmers because this is imparting knowledge. Otherwise, you use GPT and you ask a question की आमच्या झाडाला असं असं झालेलं आहे, काय करायचं? तो पहिल्यांदा फवारणी करा. Absolutely not. That's wrong. Because that is what is Visha Yukta Anna, poisonous food. And the GPT that we created with the help of lots of domain experts, a lot of people have been involved in preparing this particular AI tool, which we call Krishi Kranti, is natural farming or sustainable agriculture, which means reduce the amount of fertilizer and pesticides, and we give Visha Mukta Anna, what she mentioned, okay? And that is really helping. There are some farmers in the back to whom I keep checking on ki tumhala barobar response miltoy ka, and they're very happy because that also brings down the input costs for the farmers and hence improves the profitability. So this is one thing that we are doing. The second thing that was mentioned is about new and next farmers. One of the things that, obviously we are into skilling and green collar jobs, that's going to be the in thing in a few years from now. There's going to be an explosion of jobs in that space. Is India ready for that? Absolutely not. We are not ready to take up these jobs. The youth is not ready. So we do a lot of capacity building in this space, and in that we have narrowed down, and we are, luckily for us, national education policy which got introduced is now saying that vocation, I understand that, I'm running out of time, but I would like to just conclude by saying that we felt that we have to bring back the dignity into this profession. Like I say that I'm a chartered accountant, or I say that I'm a doctor, a farmer should say I'm a farmer, right? So we are bringing this course on sustainable agriculture, which we call Ekatmik Sheti, because it is a very holistic approach. We have introduced this course in the schools across all the agroclimatic zones in the state, and it's very interesting because the students from 9th standard have really, they enjoy this class, and now we are ready to take it across many, many schools. Currently, we are offering it free of cost, this entire course, and it is also supported with the AI tool where the student can now self-learn agriculture. So this is what we are doing for the new and the next generation of farmers, and for the women in horticulture, whom I think HSBC is going to support, because there's a huge knowledge deficit. The dignity deficit comes because of the knowledge deficit. So we are trying to bridge this digital divide, because of that, the knowledge divide and the opportunity divide. Thank you so much, and sorry for exceeding your time.
No, that's fine. Thank you. So we've heard a little bit about the gaps and the opportunities. Now moving a little bit closer to the ground and understanding what things look like in practice. Vanita ma'am, मेरा अगला question आपके लिए है. जो इन महिलाओं को जो उनका ट्रस्ट बेस्ड या स्थानीय बिक्री से हटकर टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग करके बड़े बाज़ारों तक पहुंचने में किस प्रकार आप उनका सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं?
मानदेशी फाउंडेशन पिछले 30 साल से महिलाओं के साथ काम कर रहा है, और उनके इस जर्नी में हमने ये देखा है, जब महिला अपने चैलेंजेस शेयर करती थी तो हमेशा ये बोलती थी कि मैं 5 साल से बिज़नेस कर रही हूँ, लेकिन मेरे पास बेसिक बिज़नेस रजिस्ट्रेशन लाइसेंसेस नहीं है, मुझे पता नहीं कि मेरे बिज़नेस के लिए सही मशीनरी कौन सी है और कहाँ पर मुझे एफोर्डेबल रेट में क्वालिटी मशीनरी मिलेगी, मुझे ऑनगोइंग मार्केट चाहिए, मुझे मुद्रा लोन चाहिए, मुझे एम्प्लॉय मैनेज करना है, मुझे फाइनेंस मैनेज करना है, मुझे मेरे प्रोडक्ट का क्वालिटी इम्प्रूव करना है, पैकेजिंग, ब्रांडिंग, लेबलिंग इम्प्रूव करना है। महिलाओं के ये चैलेंजेस एड्रेस करने के लिए और उनको एंड टू एंड सपोर्ट और पूरी तरह से हैंड होल्डिंग सपोर्ट प्रोवाइड करने के लिए मानदेशी ने बिजनेस स्कूल और चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स की शुरुआत की। आज 10 लाख महिलाओं ने मानदेशी के सपोर्ट से अपने बिजनेस शुरू किए हैं और स्केल किए हैं। लास्ट ईयर हमने काफ़ी एम्बिशियस टारगेट रखा था और 1330 महिलाओं को, ये जो महिला ग्रामीण एरिया, रूरल एरिया में आपने देखा कि छोटे मोटे बिजनेस करती है, आज वो महिला 1330 महिलाओं को ONDC ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म पे हमने ऑनबोर्ड किया। और सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात ये है कि उन सभी महिलाओं के 100% महिलाओं के बिजनेस लीगली कंप्लाई है। दूसरी बात कि वो ब्रांड ओनर से, वो कभी भी अपने आप को इंट्रोड्यूस करती है ना, तो अपने ब्रांड से करती है। मतलब हमें भी ये देख के इतना अभिमान महसूस होता है कि वो इस तरह से, हमें उनको प्राउड होता है कि मैं अपने बिजनेस की ब्रांड ओनर हूँ। और हमने कैसे किया है, हम लोग महाराष्ट्र एंड गुजरात में ऑपरेट करते हैं 14 लोकेशंस में, और महिलाओं के पीयर नेटवर्किंग ग्रुप क्रिएट किए हैं, महिलाओं के लिए कलेक्टिव वर्क स्पेस क्रिएट किए विथ इम्प्रूव्ड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड मशीनरी के साथ, जहां महिला इकट्ठा होती है, स्केल का प्रोडक्शन होता है, क्वालिटी मॉनिटर होती है और वो एक दूसरे के सपोर्ट से बड़ी ऑर्डर मीट भी कर पाती हैं। हमने महिलाओं को समझा है कि अभी आपको आमने सामने कस्टमर को कन्विंस करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। आपने आपके प्रोडक्ट की कैटलॉगिंग जो ऑनलाइन की है वही आपके प्रोडक्ट की और ब्रांड की पहचान है। हम महिलाओं को कहानियाँ, वीडियोस, गेम, स्टोरीज, कॉमिक्स के माध्यम से, मतलब महिला टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करने से नहीं डरती है। अगर हम उनको सादी सीधी उनकी भाषा में अगर हम सब चीज़ समझाएं तो वो इजीली अपने बिजनेस में टेक्नोलॉजी एडॉप्ट करती है। और आज हमारी 80% महिला सोशल मीडिया यूज़ कर रही है और अभिमान से कहती है कि 40% मेरा बिजनेस सोशल मीडिया से आ रहा है। और मतलब कहने की बात यह है कि अगर महिलाओं को सही साथ मिले तो वो बदलाव के साथ चलती ही नहीं है, बल्कि बदलाव का नेतृत्व करती है, लीड करती है। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू फॉर दैट। तो अभी हमने देखा है कि कुछ जो हम टूल्स या सिस्टम्स यूज़ कर सकते हैं, but now let us also try to understand how we can sort of come together for more long-term impact. And with that, I have one last question, which is to all of you. Okay, since like we are running out of time, we will not go ahead with the last question. But yeah, thank you to everyone. I think you all have highlighted very important gaps around skilling, around knowledge gap, how some of the learning that we have or research that we have is more contextual and localized, and it needs to be more extensive, and how different institutions need to come together to sort of make that change more, to bring in more change across the space. So yeah, thank you. Okay, the last question was around how collaboration across some of these ecosystem players can be used for scaling. Thank you.
Lastly, I would like to invite you all to NRC Pomegranate Solapur. It is already religious hub, and most of you person are visiting the Solapur. So whenever you will be there, do visit to our center. You will really enjoy this visiting our center. You can see these products are displayed there. So live demonstration plot is also there. So I invite you all.
So much, Manjir, and thank you so much, panelists. I'm sorry, I hate playing the timekeeper, but please bear with me on this. So now we've spoken about people and we've spoken about potential, but there's a central piece to the puzzle, and that's financing. So it's so important to rethink finance for farmers, and I think that keeps coming up in so many conversations. So to facilitate this conversation, I would request Shruti Goel from Dalberg, and we have panelists. We have Rekha Kulkarni from Mandeshi Mahila Sahakari Bank, we have Neerav Kambati from the Blended Finance Company, and we have Ms. Poorna Pushkala. Thank you so much, ma'am, again from traveling all the way from Chennai. She's from Samunati. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for your presence here.
I've had a really inspiring morning so far. I hope you all are feeling the same. I feel I'm sitting with friends and just having a chat. So this is what it's going to be, a conversation to learn about designing finance for women farmers. When I sort of thought about this session, and in fact, I have a script, right? But I will not use a script. Because what I realized is from the morning sessions कि हम बात करते हैं कि आज हमारा जो पूरा एग्रीकल्चर है उसमें 80% महिलाएं हैं और वो कितनी पिछड़ी हुई हैं, उनकी कितनी तकलीफ़ें हैं, लैंड में तकलीफ़ है, ये है. बट आज सुबह से मुझे तकलीफ़ नहीं सुनाई दी. I'm seeing so many empowered women, right? I'm feeling very energized right now from all the stories and all the things that are happening. Regardless, we will talk about the elephant in the room, which is finance, right? There is a need to increase finance. So the conversation that we want to have is, पैसा आ रहा है, right? Financing हो रही है. But how do we make sure the finance that we are designing is really serving the needs of women farmers? And especially in the context of climate risk. There's so much disruption they're going through, right? And ये नहीं कि that these farmers आज वो सिर्फ borrow कर रही हैं और एक बार कर रही हैं, उसके बाद आगे कैसे बढ़ें? How do they reach that potential that Anaga is talking about, especially for the new farmers and the next generation farmers too? So I'm going to start this conversation with Rekha ji. रेखा जी, आप अभी हमने एक लाइन अगर आप अपने आप को इंट्रोड्यूस भी कर देंगे ऑडियंस के लिए, दैट विल ऑल्सो बी हेल्पफुल. और उसके बाद मेरे आपसे सबसे पहला सवाल ये है, आप इतने बड़े और इतने इम्पोर्टेंट बैंक के CEO हैं, आप जो फाइनेंशियल प्रोडक्ट्स जब डिज़ाइन करते हैं उसमें आप कैसे सोचते हैं कि डिज़ाइन चैलेंजेस क्या हैं जो ये औरतें महसूस कर रही हैं, जो उनकी आर्थिक नॉर्मल ज़िंदगी के हैं? आज करण ने अपने सुबह उसमें सिक्योरिटी के बारे में बोला, बच्चों की एजुकेशन है, जो भी वो मुश्किलें फेस करती हैं, आपको क्या चैलेंजेस हैं जो आप सोचते हैं फाइनेंशियल प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हुए, और कुछ एग्जांपल्स अगर दे सकते हैं आप तो.
थैंक यू. मैं रेखा कुलकर्णी, मुझे बैंक में लग के 25 साल हो गए. तो जो आपका अभी सवाल था तो उसका मुझे ये लगता है कि फाइनेंस बहुत आ रहा है, लेकिन जब सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज ये होता है कि रिपेमेंट स्ट्रक्चर उनका कैसे रहे. क्योंकि कैसे है, गांव में जब किसानों हो या वीकली मार्केट के वेंडर हो, जो भी है, अभी हमारे ऑल ओवर महाराष्ट्र 8 ब्रांचेस है. तो हमारे जो गांव में ब्रांचेस है उनका रिपेमेंट शेड्यूल हमने वीकली बनाया है, क्योंकि किसान हो या जिनको भी है उनका वीकली उनका पैसे उनके हाथ में आते हैं. तो उस मुताबिक हमें सब हमारा जो रिपेमेंट का, लेकिन वही ब्रांचेस हमारे पुणे में भी है और नई मुंबई में है. तो वहाँ हमारा लोन का रिपेमेंट मंथली होता है, क्योंकि वो हमारा कस्टमर को क्या नीड है, वो कैसे पे कर सकता है, वो ऐसे देखना पड़ता है. एक अभी मैं एग्जांपल दूंगी, सेविंग का भी दूंगी और लोन का भी दूंगी. तो सेविंग में कैसे रहता है, हमारे यहाँ वीकली मार्केट्स रहते हैं. तो वीकली मार्केट्स में महिलाएं आती है तो 500 रुपये लेके खरीदने के लिए आती है, लेकिन वो क्या करती है, 450 रुपये का कुछ सामान लेती है, लेकिन उसके पास 50 रुपये जो बचते हैं वो आके वो बैंक में सेव करती है. तो वीकली सेविंग मार्केट होना चाहिए. ये सब बैंक में है क्या, उनको उस तरीके का प्रोडक्ट बनाया है क्या, ये नहीं होता है. उसी तरह का लोन का है. लोन का है तो मैंने बताया कि हमारे महिला ऐसे भी है जो मार्केट में बैठती है, स्ट्रीट वेंडर है, वेजिटेबल वेंडर्स है, उनको दिन में 20-20, 50-50 रुपये सेव करना है. तो हमें उनको डोर स्टेप सर्विस प्रोवाइड करनी पड़ती है और उनको जाके वहाँ का कलेक्शन, डोर स्टेप सर्विस कलेक्शन करना पड़ता है. और तीसरी बात है, मैं एक एग्जांपल भी दूंगी. हाँ, करीब 2005 में हमारे यहाँ एक महिलाएं आती थी, उन्होंने एक 50,000 का FD रखा था और वो आती थी मंथली इंटरेस्ट लेने के लिए. तो चेतना जी ने उनको पूछा कि आप मंथली आते हो और इंटरेस्ट लेते हो, किस लिए लेते हो? तो उन्होंने कहा कि मेरे लड़के सब मुंबई में वगैरह है और मुझे मंथली कुछ दवाई खरीदने के लिए पैसे लगते हैं. तो मैं वो मंथली मेरे पास पैसे नहीं आते, कोई मुझे भेजता नहीं है, क्या सरकार का पेंशन नहीं आता है मुझे, इसलिए मंथली वो इंटरेस्ट का मैं दवाई के ऊपर वगैरह यूज़ करती हूँ. तो हमने सोचा, फिर उसी वक्त हमने UTI म्यूचुअल फंड के साथ डिस्कशन किया और तब पहली बार हमने हमारे महिलाओं के लिए जो उनका फ्यूचर के लिए वो इन्वेस्ट करे ऐसे प्रोडक्ट हमने डिज़ाइन किया. और तब UTI के पास 500 पर मंथ का उनके पास प्रोडक्ट था, लेकिन हमारा बहुत डिस्कशन होने के बाद उनको पर मंथ उन्होंने 100 रुपीज़ किया. और तब थोरात मैडम ही इनॉग्रेशन के लिए 7,000 महिलाओं ने हमारा तब पेंशन के लिए अकाउंट्स खोले और अभी हमारे, मैं ये क्यों बोल रही हूँ, अभी लोन हुआ, सेविंग हुआ, पेंशन हुआ, हमारी महिलाएं इंश्योरेंस भी करती है और अभी नेक्स्ट स्टेप हमारी महिलाएं म्यूचुअल फंड में जा रही है।
बहुत ही अच्छा, बहुत ही अच्छा, बहुत अच्छी कहानियाँ हैं और बहुत ही अच्छे आप जो डिज़ाइन कर रहे हो, क्लियरली महिलाओं की जो ज़रूरतें हैं और जैसे वो फाइनेंस यूज़ करती हैं, आप वो बहुत सोच के उनके लिए डिज़ाइन कर रहे हैं।
एक और उसमें हमारी बैंक महिला बैंक है।
हाँ,
तो बहुत सारा लोन हमें आरबीआई का भी कुछ सिक्योर्ड और अनसिक्योर्ड लोन देने के लिए रिस्ट्रिक्शंस है। तो हमारी महिलाओं के पास कोलैटरल देने के लिए कुछ भी प्रॉपर्टी नहीं रहती है, तो हमें उसको हस्बैंड को एक ओवर करके लेना पड़ता है। लेकिन हमने ये भी एक आगे किया कि जिस महिला के नाम प्रॉपर्टी है उसको हम इंटरेस्ट पे 1% रिबेट देते हैं और ये देख के अभी बाकी बैंक को 10% है, लेकिन हम अनसिक्योर्ड लोन 35% तक दे सकते हैं। ये एक आरबीआई ने हमें स्पेशल परमिशन दिया है और इसमें और एक मैं प्राउड फील करती हूँ कि बाकी बैंक को प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लेंडिंग 40% भी नहीं होता है, जहां हम लोग 95% तक प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लेंडिंग करते हैं।
वंडरफुल, वंडरफुल, बहुत अच्छा। इसमें एक सवाल जो रहता है, मैं जैसे अपने घर पे भी अगर देखूँ, हमारे घर में भी जो दीदी काम करती हैं वो भी ऐसी, मतलब अपना छोटा छोटा पैसा बचा के, लेकिन ये फाइनेंस, आप तो एक बैंक इतना इंस्टीट्यूशनल स्ट्रक्चर प्रोडक्ट्स बना रहे हैं, लेकिन बहुत फाइनेंस अभी बहुत इनफॉर्मल रहता है। इसको फॉर्मलाइज करके और रिपीटेडली वो फॉर्मल फाइनेंस एक्सेस करे, जिससे उनकी फाइनेंशियल हिस्ट्री भी बने और आगे जाके अभी हम पूर्णा से भी बात करेंगे कि उनकी क्रेडिट हिस्ट्री भी बने। उसके लिए आपके क्या कुछ लर्निंग्स हैं जो आप शेयर कर सकती हैं, और महिला किसान के लिए?
तो मुझे यहाँ एक जो जैसे आपने फॉर्मल और इनफॉर्मल बोला, तो यहाँ एक पहली बात आती है, गांव-गांव में ट्रस्ट की बात आती है, जहाँ अभी वो जिसको भी पैसा चाहिए तो तुरंत कहाँ पे मिलता है, तो एक तो साहूकार के पास मिलता है, नहीं तो एक सोनार के पास मिलता है। ये दो चीज़ें उनको कहीं भी कभी भी जाओ और वहाँ कुछ पेपर्स वगैरह देने की ज़रूरत नहीं। तो हमने यही देख के हमारा एक लोन प्रोडक्ट है जो वीकली कैश क्रेडिट का लोन प्रोडक्ट है, जो हमारे स्टाफ फील्ड के जो स्टाफ है वो सुबह जाके 1000 रुपये हो, 500 रुपये वो सुबह जाके देते हैं और शाम को कलेक्ट करते हैं। तो एक हमने ये थोड़ा सा जो फॉर्मल और इनफॉर्मल जो पूछा आपने, तो उसके लिए इस टाइप के लोन्स बनाए। और एक चीज़ है कि यहाँ ट्रस्ट, वो महिलाओं को जिस टाइम को जहाँ पे उसको चाहिए वहाँ पैसे मिलेगा, तो वो बहुत उसको फ़ायदा भी होता है। जैसे अभी इम्पैक्ट की बात चल रही है, हमारा जो ये वीकली कैश क्रेडिट मार्केट का जो प्रोडक्ट है, ये कौन से भी बैंक में नहीं है। स्पेशल ये लोन प्रोडक्ट के लिए बहुत सारे बैंक्स भी आते हैं, सब आते भी है। तो मुझे लगता है ये इस टाइप के लोन प्रोडक्ट सब बैंक में हो गए तो और भी अच्छा हो सकता है, फॉर्मल और इनफॉर्मल में।
थैंक यू। HSBC भी यहाँ पे बैठी हुई हैं, वो सुन रही हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच। आपने बहुत ही अच्छे इनोवेटिव सोल्यूशंस भी बताए। मैं नीरव, आई विल मूव ऑन टू यू नो, these are a lot of innovations that Rekha ma'am has spoken from the ground and जो आज हो रही हैं हमारी फील्ड पे। But when we look at broader capital markets and investors, agriculture, women-led agriculture still seems to be not on top of the radar, right? It still seems to carry a lot of risk. Share with us a little bit of like perspectives from the investors, like what's the risk that they are not able to price in, and also solutions that you have seen for it, please.
Sure, Shruti. So first of all, Chetna ma'am, thank you so much for having me here today. It's been, like you said, truly humbling and very, very energizing experience. So Shruti, हमने जब ये blended finance company setup करी 2 साल पहले, तो हमारा एम यही था कि जो सेक्टर में अभी पैसा नहीं आ रहा, पर जहाँ पे डेवलपमेंट इम्पैक्ट बहुत ही ज़्यादा है, उन सेक्टर में हम कैसे और कमर्शियल मेन स्ट्रीम इन्वेस्टर का पैसा लेके आए। अभी पिछले 2 साल में हम जो प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम कर रहे हैं, कुल मिला के 5000 करोड़ डेवलपमेंट सेक्टर की तरफ आ रहा है। हम अभी ये टाइम पे दिल्ली में एक सेमिनार चल रहा है जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया 250 करोड़ कमिट कर रहे हैं और 250 करोड़ और प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टर्स 500 करोड़ श्री जयंत चौधरी जो हमारे मिनिस्टर हैं वो अनाउंस कर रहे हैं। हमने वर्ल्ड बैंक और यूएनडीपी के साथ एक फैसिलिटी क्रिएट करा है जहाँ पे 500 करोड़ रुपए फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस और विलेज लेवल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को लोन के माफिक दिए जा रहे हैं ताकि क्लाइमेट स्मार्ट एग्रीकल्चर को वो प्रमोट कर सके। और 15 मिलियन का एक फिलैंथ्रोपिक फैसिलिटी बना है सेक्रेटरी हिलेरी क्लिंटन के सपोर्ट के साथ, जिससे और 150 करोड़ विमेन स्मॉल होल्डर फार्मर्स को इंडिया और इंडोनेशिया में दिए जा सके, राइट। सो कोशिशें काफ़ी हो रही है और ऑन द ग्राउंड काम हो रहा है, लेकिन रियलिटी क्या है? आप अगर देखोगे कि इंडिया में कितने स्मॉल होल्डर फार्मर्स हैं, राइट, 12 से 15 करोड़ स्मॉल होल्डर फार्मर्स इंडिया में। अगर हम इनका इंटरवेंशन देखें अगर कि कॉस्ट कितनी पड़ती है पर फार्मर, अगर हम उनकी आयत बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, हर फार्मर पे लगभग फिलैंथ्रोपी को 10 से 20 हज़ार रुपये का खर्चा करना पड़ता है। तो अगर आप ये एक सिंपल मल्टीप्लिकेशन करो तो 2 लाख करोड़ का बजट चाहिए इंडिया के फार्मर्स की कैपेसिटी बढ़ाने के लिए। अब ये पैसा कहाँ से आएगा? अब इंडिया की पूरी फिलैंथ्रोपी को ऐड कर लो, पूरी, हर तरह से हम जो मंदिर में पैसा देते हैं या फिर किसी गरीब को पैसा देते हैं, ये सब ऐड कर दिया ना तो भी ये 2 लाख करोड़ नहीं बनता। तो मतलब ज़रूरी है, फार्मर्स को ज़रूरी है कि हम मेन स्ट्रीम कमर्शियल कैपिटल के साथ काम करें। और आप मेन स्ट्रीम कमर्शियल कैपिटल को देखो तो उनको ज़रूरत है कि वो फार्मर्स के साथ काम करें, क्योंकि ये देश की 18% पूरी क्रेडिट फार्मर्स को और एग्री सेक्टर के लिए, तो उनके लिए 1/5 अगर उनका ये बिजनेस है तो इनके लिए भी ये सेक्टर बहुत ही मायने रखता है। बट रियलिटी ये है कि ये दोनों एक दूसरे से अभी रूठे हुए हैं। आसावरी मैडम ने क्या बताया, उनको पूछा गया कि ये आत्महत्या क्यों होती है, तो उन्होंने जो टॉप 3 रीजंस बताए उसमें नंबर 2 था कर्जा। तो अभी ना फार्मर्स का क्रेडिट से भरोसा उठ चुका है और फॉर्मल जो इन्वेस्टर्स हैं उनका फार्मर्स से भरोसा उठ चुका है, क्योंकि हर बार ये फार्म लोन की माफ़ी हो जाती है पॉलिटिकल रीजंस, और उनको काफ़ी उनका नाम खराब होता है अगर वो पैसा अपना वापस लेने जाए। तो कहीं पे ये सिस्टम टूटा हुआ है और ब्लेंडेड फाइनेंस का रोल यही है कि ये दोनों जो बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स हैं, उन जो रूठे हुए एक दूसरे से, उनको फिर से मनाया जाए। और ये कैसे होगा? आज अगर आप देखोगे तो हर एक इंटरवेंशन के बाद फार्मर की आयत ऑलमोस्ट डबल हो जाती है।
हमने देखा, इनकम डेटा देखा हमने,
राइट। तो अगर आप, मैं नांदेड़ में था अभी 2 वीक पहले और फार्मर से बात कर रहा था कि आपकी कितनी आयत है, तो उनकी आय है महीने की लगभग 40 से 50 हज़ार रुपये। आप ये समझ लो कि ये डबल हो गई एक साल में, तो 50 हज़ार रुपये का आपको रिटर्न मिल रहा है। 20 हज़ार रुपये की इन्वेस्टमेंट है आपकी। अगर आप आज मुझे कोई आके बोले कि आप 100 रुपये लगाओ, आपको हर साल 200 रुपये मिलेंगे, तो मैं तो मेरे पास जितना पैसा है सब लगा दूंगा। तो बिजनेस केस तो है। प्रॉब्लम क्या है? प्रॉब्लम ये है कि ये इंटरवेंशन के बाद भी सक्सेस रेट अपना 80 से 85% है। आप कोई भी बैंक के पास जाओगे और बोलोगे कि देखो ये 15% आपका पैसा चला जाने वाला है, तो वो पैसा नहीं लगाएंगे। तो ब्लेंडेड फाइनेंस का रोल है कि ये रिस्क कैसे कम करे, और सबसे बड़ी डी रिस्किंग होती है फार्मर कैपेसिटी एडिशन से।
हमने सेशन 2 में भी देखा, जैसे कैपेसिटी की भी जो नीड है अभी।
हाँ, तो अगर कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग का इतना बड़ा रोल है, तो कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग अगर आप 20 रुपये लगा के अगर 80 रुपये मार्केट से आप ला रहे हो, तो हर एक रुपये का फिलैंथ्रोपी 4 रुपये का आपको कमर्शियल कैपिटल ला के देता है, और उससे आपकी जो ज़रूरत है फिलैंथ्रोपी इन्वेस्टमेंट की, वो कम हो जाएगी। तो यहाँ पे हमें बड़े सॉल्यूशंस दिख रहे हैं। इसके अलावा अगर आप देखोगे तो फार्मर की इनकम कैसे बढ़ाई जाए, हमने देखा कि फर्टिलाइज़र का यूज़ कम हो जाता है। ये वॉर में आप देखोगे अपना सबसे बड़ा क्राइसिस ये है कि हमारे फर्टिलाइज़र इनपुट्स को क्या होगा, राइट? हम अभी भी अपने फर्टिलाइजर्स इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। तो अगर ये कॉस्ट कम हो रहा है तो उसकी क्रेडिट फार्मर्स को क्यों नहीं दी? हम कार्बन क्रेडिट्स की बात करते हैं, पर व्हाट अबाउट वाटर क्रेडिट्स, व्हाट अबाउट फर्टिलाइजर क्रेडिट्स? यहाँ पे ब्लेंडेड फाइनेंस एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले कर सकता है. हम यहाँ पे ये नांदेड़ में ही एक लेडी ने हमें बताया सेरिकल्चर का प्लांट एंड वुमन फार्मर, एंड कैसे उसने शेड लगा के सेरिकल्चर के थ्रू अपनी इनकम बढ़ाई. महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट सेरिकल्चर के लिए 2.2 लाख की लोन देती है और कुल खर्चा है आपका 2.5-3 लाख. फार्मर को ज़्यादा पैसा नहीं लगाना पड़ता, पर लैग है, वो आपको गवर्नमेंट की सब्सिडी मिलने में लैग है. वहाँ पे ब्लेंडेड फाइनेंस आ सकता है. तो ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट रोल है जो फिलैंथ्रोपी प्ले कर सकती है ताकि मेन स्ट्रीम कैपिटल आ सके.
No, thank you so much. And you've shared some very sort of tangible plugs that need to happen, right? चाहे वो रिस्क मैनेजमेंट के लिए जो आपने 15% बोला, या आपने वर्किंग कैपिटल के लिए बोला, या गैप फंडिंग के लिए बोला, राइट? सो काफ़ी स्पेसिफिक एरियाज हैं जहाँ पे आ सकता है, एंड द वॉल्यूम ऑफ कैपिटल रिक्वायर्ड इज़ वेरी लार्ज. उसमें दैट मैथ वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. पूनम, I'm going to move to you, and मैं वहाँ पे टाइम भी देख चुकी हूँ. आप हमने फार्मर्स के बारे में भी समझा, कैपिटल के बारे में भी समझा, बीच में है वैल्यू चेन्स. एंड एज Samunati, who is not only financing value chains but also sort of leading a lot of the market structures, what is the role of value chains, right? And when it comes, and how does that enable farmers, especially women farmers, to access more finance?
समुन्नति का यही रोल है कि पिछले 10 साल में हमने पूरा एग्री वैल्यू चेन फिनेंस ही किया है विथ एन एग्रीगेटर अप्रोच. तो हम ये मानते हैं कि अगर इंडिविजुअल फार्मर्स के साथ काम करना पड़ता है तो बहुत वक्त लगता है फिनेंस पहुंचने में, तो हम एक एग्रीगेटर के थ्रू काम करते हैं. ये एग्रीगेटर ज़्यादातर FPOs होते हैं, फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर कंपनीज, या फिर कोऑपरेटिव्स, कुछ फॉर्म का कलेक्टिव होता है. तो जो कोई भी अभी रेखा जी ने बोला, वो इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे बोल रहे हैं कि वो कैसे कस्टमाइज़ किया है उन्होंने इंडिविजुअल फार्मर के लिए, पर उन्होंने एक पूरा हाउस होल्ड को यूनिट मान के लिया है. पर जब समुन्नति वैल्यू चेन देखती है तो हम सिर्फ वैल्यू चेन को देखते हैं. उनके पास शायद 3-4 तरह के इनकम हो, उससे कोई मतलब नहीं है. सिर्फ ये है कि एक क्रॉप लेते हैं, उस क्रॉप के लिए लाइक एक 100-डे क्रॉप होता है, कोई 6 महीने का क्रॉप होता है. तो दोनों में ये पैसा इतना आसान नहीं है कि हम ये बोलते हैं कि उनको वीकली पैसा मिलता है, उनको महीने मिलता है. पर बात यह है कि उनको आउटपुट हार्वेस्ट के बाद ही पैसा मिलता है. जो कुछ भी वो बीच में उनको मिलता है कहीं और से मिलता है, एग्रीकल्चर से नहीं मिलता है. पर जो पैसा उनको डालना पड़ता है वो प्री सीजन डालना पड़ता है. जो कोई भी लाइक मान लीजिए सॉइल टेस्टिंग की बात हुई, सो सॉइल टेस्टिंग का कॉस्ट हो, या फिर फर्टिलाइज़र हो, या फिर पूरा मान लीजिए ऑर्गेनिक है पर उन्हें कुछ ऑर्गेनिक करना पड़ता है. तो ये वैल्यू चेन फिनेंस में क्या है, हम ये वैल्यू चेन को ही डी रिस्किंग मैकेनिज्म मानते हैं. तो इंडिविजुअल फार्मर के लेवल पे नहीं, पर वो पूरा वैल्यू चेन में वो डी रिस्क होता है. तो लाइक इनपुट का पूरा रिक्वायरमेंट, पैसा कभी चाहिए, पैसा पहले चाहिए, प्री सीजन चाहिए, पर पैसा कब आता है, पोस्ट सीजन आता है. और जो कोई भी हम बात कर रहे हैं महाराष्ट्र में, बीट सुसाइड, बीट डिस्ट्रेस सेल, वो सब इसीलिए होता है कि उन्होंने लाइक दे आर नॉट एबल टू मैनेज द फिनेंसेस, लाइक दे हैव टेकन लोन, वो लोन को रीपे करना है तो डिस्ट्रेस सेल होता है. तो लाइक एक्सट्रीम इज लूजिंग देयर लाइफ, बट हमें ज़्यादातर क्या होता है, डिस्ट्रेस सेल होता है. तो वहीं लाइक हम भी ये काम करना चाहते हैं ब्लेंडेड फिनेंस कंपनी के साथ कि कैसे वो कैपिटल ब्लेंड हो. पर वैल्यू चेन का जो अप्रोच है वो अप्रोच ये है कि हम घर को ना देख के, सिर्फ वो काम को देख के, उस काम से क्या मुनाफा होता है, उस काम के लिए कैसा पैसा चाहिए. तो मान लीजिए अगर वो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट थोड़ा ज़्यादा भी हो, पर हमें पता है कि वो टाइमली वो मनी मिलने पर वो सर्विस कर पाएंगे, तो क्या होता है, वैसा ही होता है वैल्यू चेन फिनेंस. अभी हमने लाइक समुन्नति का जो एक्सपीरियंस है वो लाइक मैंने बोला कि एग्रीगेटर के थ्रू है. तो क्या है, वो एग्रीगेटर सेलेक्ट करता है कौन सा फार्मर को क्या फंडिंग मिलेगा, क्योंकि उनको पता है कि ये किसान मेरे साथ 10 साल से जुड़ा है, 5 साल से जुड़ा है, अभी ये क्रॉप कन्वर्ट करना चाहते हैं, ये पिछले सीजन उन्होंने कुछ भी नहीं किया है, अभी ये कर रहे हैं, तो वो सब है. पर अगर विमेन फार्मर की बात करें, जैसे रेखा जी ने बोला कि उन्होंने एक क्रेडिट बेनिफिट दिया कि अगर आपके पास खुद का कुछ एसेट्स हों, वैसा ही फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर कंपनीज भी अभी करते हैं.
लाइक जो कोई भी विमेन महिला को फोकस करते हैं तो वो कहते हैं कि अगर एक महिला के पास थोड़ी भी ज़मीन हो तो वो हमारा शेयर होल्डर बन सकते हैं। तो शेयर होल्डर बनने में उनका इनपुट का कॉस्ट हम कम हो जाता है, आउटपुट लाइक प्राइस दे डोंट चेंज, पर उनको फर्स्ट राइट मिलता है कि एफपीओ के पास जाएं और वो उनको उनके साथ एंगेज करें। तो अगर हम महिला की बात करें तो एफपीओ हमारे लिए वो सब काम कर रहा है जो यहाँ हमने सुबह से जो सुना है, मानदेशी ने किया है, सॉइल सकी ने जो किया है, वो सब हमारे लिए एफपीओ कर रहा है। तो एफपीओ में क्या है, फार्मर ही है, ये फार्मर का कंपनी है, फार्मर चलाते हैं, फार्मर के लिए चलाते हैं। तो हम उनके साथ काम करके ये सभी जो कोई भी अभी ये बैंक कर रही है, पर वो एफपीओ चुन रहा है फार्मर्स को और वो एफपीओ के थ्रू हो रही है। तो डिफ्रेंसिएशन ये होता है कि मान लीजिए कोई फार्मर है जो कैटल खरीद के अपना इनकम डाइवर्सिफाई करना चाहते हैं, डायरी में जाना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए हमारा ट्रीटमेंट अलग होगा। और जो कोई भी बस इनपुट चाहिए उनको और इनपुट के लिए वो एफपीओ से लोन लेना चाहते हैं, उसका ट्रीटमेंट अलग होगा। तो that is the difference between the regular finance that we spoke about and the value chain approach that Samunati
No, this
takes.
is very interesting, and I think I will try to summarize. It's given I've been given another warning. See, what I have to say is that Nirav, the framing that you took to say कि ये बहुत ही बड़ा finance का requirement है, और जैसे रेखा जी ने भी बोला, पूना ने भी बोला, इसमें बहुत माइक्रो इनोवेशन चाहिए फॉर द रियलिटीज़ ऑफ दीज वुमेन, चाहे वो इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे हो, हाउस होल्ड लेवल पे हो, वैल्यू चेन लेवल पे हो, एंड बहुत अलग अलग चीज़ें सॉल्व करनी है। तो ये एक एक संस्था कुछ कुछ पायलट्स कर सकती हैं, कुछ कुछ स्केल पे कर सकती है। You will have to take a whole of a system approach and some collective action. And I think the conversation that we were having earlier, some sort of an alliance is needed in my sort of view to shape this. And the one very important thing is, I think in all of these pilots and innovations, clearly there is now evidence being built on the value of regenerative agriculture, right? There is economic value that is being demonstrated. कि वो जो यील्ड का सुबह डेटा था, इनकम का था, वो है, राइट? तो आई थिंक हम ये एक अलायंस कैसे बनाएं जो कि हमारी फार्मर्स, हमारी विमेन फार्मर्स, हमारी सॉइल, हमारे एक प्लानट को भी इम्प्रूव करे, वो कैसे एक लेके आए, ये एक बहुत बड़ा एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है आज हम सब जो यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं इस पे चर्चा करने के लिए आगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you so much. That conversation was not entirely meant to be in Hindi, but I'm really sorry for somebody, for all of those here who don't follow Hindi. But thank you, Shruti, for summarizing it. That was really helpful. Okay, so now that through the previous panels we've seen, we've heard about what the bigger picture looks like. We'd like to come and talk a little bit about what would it take to make this happen? Because we're all talking about, these are the problems, these are the probable solutions. How do we move towards action? And in the entire ecosystem, I mean, from soil to the market. When we met Amit sir last week, he asked us a very interesting question when he said, what does reimagining agriculture mean? What does it look like? And how do we get there? So I think we are going to have a few of those conversations here. And for that, I will invite all the chief guests, Amit Chandra sir from Bain Capital and A.T. Chandra Foundation, Consul General Paul Murphy from the Australian Consulate General in Mumbai, Sonali Shahpurwala from HSBC, and Ashutosh Gowarikar, Indian filmmaker. Sir, once again, I cannot tell you enough what Swades did for a generation. Thank you so much for doing that for all of us. So yeah, huge round of applause. And we have Kavita Iyer moderating this panel. Kavita has been a tremendous supporter of Mandeshi. So thank you so much, Kavita, for helping with this. And yeah, I think since we've got all the chief guests on stage, I would just request if we could take this moment to also launch the report. Can we do that? Yeah, okay. So yeah, Kavita, please, yeah, we also want you on stage. If we could have all the other panelists also come up on stage, we can quickly take a photograph. Chetna ma'am, Karan, please. I would request Amit Sachdev sir, please. Rekha ma'am, Vanita ma'am, Purna ji, Rajiv sir, Shruti, please. Manjir, are you here? And of course, a few farmers who are in the front seat. Sorry. Veena ma'am, please. Yeah. So each of those have 2. Yeah.
Give me one more. That's, I'll share with you.
Kindly request all the other panelists to be seated. And yeah, can the team please help pick up the wrappers? Over to you, Kavita.
Okay, the pre-lunch and post-lunch sessions are always the ones with the most restlessness, and I've been given permission to make this a little provocative so that we stay awake and forget our hunger. So, I mean, it's been a great morning, and the stories that emerge from Mandeshi are always inspiring, and I've been writing about Mandeshi's women for such a long time. But Mandeshi actually swims against the tide. It's easy to look at the women here and think that there's a lot of good happening in Indian agriculture, but that's not really the big theme about Indian agriculture, is it? The big theme about Indian agriculture remains what we do not want to acknowledge, and I, as a journalist, I find it reprehensible that we are only writing about farmer suicides, because there's so much other distress that women face. Women are committing suicide too, and they're not even counted as farmers because they don't own land, so they're not among the farmer suicide numbers. But I mean, so the latest data on Indian agriculture is that 55% of the population of India depends on agriculture, 45% of the workforce depends on agriculture, 22% of gross value added emerges from agriculture. My first question is to Amit. Quick introduction. Amit Chandra is MD of Bain Capital, but he also wears another very important hat apart from that of an investor, of a private equity person. He's also one of India's most prominent philanthropists who is championing work in rural India and in drought-prone areas such as Marathwada. Amit, let's start with you. I want to ask you, so obviously Indian agriculture is broken. What is it that we need to change in policy and in general understanding of agricultural systems in India and what's happening with climate right now if we have to move towards a Viksit Bharat in 2047?
Thank you, Kavita. Thank you, first of all, for Mandeshi for inviting all of us here today, and congratulations on this phenomenal report. I had the opportunity to read it over the last couple of days. We're all talking these days about Viksit Bharat, and I think common sense would teach you that you cannot build a building unless its foundation is strong. And our efforts over the last couple of decades have been on trying to repair the second floor and third floor and fourth floor of this building and trying to make it a skyscraper without actually making a strong foundation. I don't think we can have a Viksit Bharat unless we actually fix agriculture, because of the statistics that you just talked about, with about half the country being agrarian and a large part of our economy, still accounting the GVA still being agrarian, we really need to fix it. So I think this is the first and most important point that we need to get right. The issue in my mind is not just with policy, but I think with civil society as well. And I'll make 2 points in that regard. I think from a policy perspective, there is no shortage of capital. I was hearing some of the points in the previous 3 panels as well. When you analyze the flow of capital from both central and state governments, you realize there's absolutely no shortage of money being thrown at the problem. But that money is essentially going towards financing continually declining marginal returns. And all of us who have run and built businesses know that that's the wrong way to treat any problem. We've not treated agriculture as a business. Each farmer is a businesswoman. And I think if we have to really work with her, we need to reimagine agriculture. So I think the first and most important thing is we have to take the same amount of money that we are spending. We don't need to think and ask for more, but we need to spend it more sensibly and smartly. The role of civil society in all of this is to not sit and complain, but to facilitate the shifts that are needed to enable this to happen. And this point came up in the previous panel as well. I think there are great opportunities. Most people in the civil society have not engaged with farmers. Few people have. People like Ashu have made movies on the rural areas. I know I'm fortunate that I have friends who basically work in the rural space, and I also had the opportunity to start engaging with farmer issues about, a decade plus ago. But I think there are very few people who do that. If we do, we will bring expertise, we will bring knowledge, we will bring networks to solve what I think is the most important problems of our time. And I think with imagination and persistence, we can actually solve these problems.
I'm going to persist a little bit and ask you, let's say if I have to ask you for top 3 ideas you have to double farmers' income in the next 15, 20, 30 years.
There are enough examples, including if you look at this report itself, you see so many examples of success, but they're all subscale. So all we need to do is figure out how we actually scale these. And I think that's the need of the hour. At a macro level, if we have to really double farm income, I think doubling is a very, one of my good friends is Vilas Shinde of Sayadri. And he's taught me one thing, which is you should never hold your bar low for farmers. We should imagine that a farmer should also earn 1 lakh per acre. And is it possible? He showed that it's possible in Nasik. So I think to make that happen, a few things are very important. I think the first is, I think we need to reimagine the crops that we grow. Our policy framework encourages our farmers to basically grow excessively cereals. We are procuring about 100,000 crores extra cost every year is being spent on procuring rice and wheat, more than what our food security needs are. If this is simply redirected to encourage other crops that the country needs for us to become Atmanirbhar, because we import about $35 billion of agri crops. This very country is importing, we are encouraging farmers from other countries. That money will go in the hands of our farmers. We are buying energy at a time of crisis from the Middle East at ridiculous prices. We need a biofuels policy where our farmers can grow our biofuels. So first of all, diversification of crops using the current amount of money that's available is one very big shift. The second is SOPization of farmers. Ashwin, my friend Amir and his team do a phenomenal job at teaching farmers how to use SOPs. Mandeshi's own work is using SOPs in the area of soil health. We've seen that wherever you do SOPization at scale, you can easily in a 12 to 18 month period increase profitability by 2 to 3x. Currently, we are working with Pani Foundation on a project across Maharashtra, where this year probably 5 to 6 lakh farmers will hopefully see that 2 to 3x increase in income by a combination of a physical and a digital Sheti Shala model. So the second big shift is basically making sure that farmers can use the right SOPs. This will actually bring down the cost of inputs and increase yields so that you can increase income by 2 to 3x. I think the third is we need to take some of the wasteful spending that we are doing, which is, really generating marginal returns, and start investing it in productive areas like processing, market linkages, etc., which will really sustainably create income, because we have got huge amount of agri wastage. We have very low amount of value addition. So at the end of the day, we know, and this is something that all our businesses have done, we need to do the same. As I go back to the point that farming needs to be treated like a business. The moment we'll do that, we'll also see less price volatility. You raised the point earlier about farmer suicides. A lot of the debt, essentially, and this would be true about a business as well, if you have volatility in your pricing, you will essentially have high risk. The moment you have more processing, you'll have more stability in prices, ability to sell volume in bad times. So that's a third big shift. These three big shifts in my mind can actually transform not just agriculture, but the fate of this country.
Strong words there from Amit. Can I come to Paul next? Paul Murphy is the Consul General for Australia in India. Paul, we have a problem in India of the market always being too far away for any Indian farmer. Very small percentage of Indian farmers manage to reach the market themselves at all. What can international markets offer a community that is so far behind? And is there a story for us to hear about the possibilities of collaborating with people who can help Indian farmers reach a foreign market? And if you have any stories to tell about Australian purchases of Indian agri products, we'd be very keen to hear.
Yeah, thank you everyone for having me here today. Paul Murphy, Australian Consul General here in Mumbai. So yeah, I think international markets are a really important and valuable opportunity for India. India already exports quite a lot overseas, particularly rice. It's a major supplier of rice globally. But the opportunities are expanding over time, and particularly through some of the new arrangements that are available for India through its trade agreements. So Australia and India signed a trade agreement a few years back now, about 3 years back, and that saw at entry into force of the agreement, tariffs on Indian products into Australia go to zero. So you don't face any tariff barriers into Australia. And then on top of that, we've actually signed last year a mutual recognition agreement on organics as well. So the sorts of priorities that we were hearing about in the earlier sessions around organic food and food that's made without chemicals, there's a framework for recognition now that can see those be exported and get a premium price in Australia. So the opportunities there, the market's opened up. I was very glad to hear that we have a focus on pomegranates here today, because that was one of the first products that came in following the trade agreement to see for the first time, I understand, exports of pomegranates from Maharashtra to Australia, and they really get a premium price in Australia because we don't produce pomegranates.
Do you want to tell us what the price is? There are farmers here, so do you want to tell us?
Well, Francina can probably tell me the price of a pomegranate, because she would buy them at the supermarket there. But
$5 Australian?
$5 for one pomegranate.
Can someone give me an exchange rate? That's 400 rupees. Someone in Marathi, 400 रुपये एक pomegranate, एक अनाराचं. That's right? Yeah.
But that's right. But I think that points to Chandraji's point around, focusing on those products where with your resource endowment here, you can produce them at a rate that's really competitive for the world, and focusing on those, as opposed to potentially some of the grains and other products where, places where you can have more mechanized agriculture, you're going to have a competitive challenge there. And then that competitive challenge also comes up through things like food processing, as you're talking about. If the price is higher here for those, and that's going to affect your competitiveness in food processing. So you can do some things to intervene in the market, but you've got to ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're selling internationally, you're going to be facing that global market.
Right. Can I ask Ashutosh next to come into this conversation here? I think storytelling is something very close to my heart, also close to the heart of a lot of the farmers who I know, because they always want to speak. I have never visited a farmer who does not want to tell me his or her story. And still somehow in the media, we only see the photograph of, as someone was saying earlier, this person wearing a dusty kurta and looking upward, waiting for the rain to come. Is there a way for us to reimagine storytelling about Indian farmers? Is there a case for a modern Amchi Mati, Amchi Mansa, a 2026 version of that?
I absolutely agree with you, because that's the thought that was crossing my mind. But first of all, let me congratulate Mandeshi Foundation, and really thank you, Chetna ji, for inviting me to be on this panel. आणि आज जितक्या महिला शेतकऱ्यांनी आणि आपल्या सखी ज्या आहेत, सखी सॉइलच्या सॉइल सखीज, त्यांच्या ज्या इंटरव्ह्यूज झाले, तुम्ही जी माहिती दिली ती खूप प्रेरणादायक होती आणि त्याच्यामुळेच माझ्या मनात हा विचार येऊ लागला होता. सो कमिंग बॅक टू for decades, the perception that we have always had about farming or agriculture and farmers has been they lead lives of stress, they lead lives of distress, survival is a problem. But today, through these two earlier panels, 3 panels, I heard a very different kind of a story. I heard a story of aspiration. I heard success stories, and I heard stories of hope and more development. There's a very bright future there. Now, while I was listening to this and related to your question, I was thinking that if these stories remain a part of a room like this, it is really huge injustice to those people and to a lot many people who actually don't know about it. So the most common and the popular question that is asked is, what will you do when you grow up? And usually the choice is only 2 for many years. Now there are a little bit more. That's engineer and doctor. I want to hear someone say farmer. I want to hear, बड़ा होके क्या बनेगा बच्चा? किसान बनूंगा, मैं शेतकरी होणार. That sense of pride needs to be inculcated in people, in a nation, I'm saying. And I second what Amit also said. Cinema is a very strong tool for that. To be able to bring these stories in a film and make it aspirational, make it popular, and make it look, I'm not saying rosy, but make it look like this is possible, this is achievable. If someone else can do it, and this is the way, this is the route, this is the methodology of doing it, this is the knowledge that I'm going to get. It's like, if I give you the parallel of film is, we talk about seed and we talk about the crop. Seed for us is the idea, the story idea. Now, if we have the seed and if we have a story idea which is actually for film, but we go and approach it for a play, it's not going to work. So knowledge is about what is the story idea, what is that idea that you want to take, and where do you want to sow it. Similarly, farm to market, even for us, when we make our product, we really have to think about how we're going to reach the market, how we're going to reach the audience. So even for that, we have to constantly struggle and get knowledge. And if that kind of knowledge can be given to the farmer, I think that's the biggest achievement. And just to say that I'm not being a participant here and giving my experience or giving my learning of what I'm taking today, I've been trying to work with Mandeshi Foundation, Mandeshi Bank, with Chetna ji, with Karan, Prabhat, Parth, Anagha, and of course Vijay ji. Since the past 2 years, 3 years, trying to bring together a story which will make this aspect the hero and the heroines. And it might sound very corny, but I have to say it. Behind every successful man, there is a successful woman in the case of the soil sakis. So the film that I'm making, I've called it Man. This is a script that I've written, which I'm producing. And I have my director here, Rohan Mapuskar. If you can just stand up there, please. He's going to direct it. So Man comes from obviously Mandeshi and all of that. And hopefully we'll make a aspirational film which goes out and showcases what good work not only they are doing, but many others, nameless, faceless people who are trying to make their presence felt. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. We don't have a lot of time, but we still have to come to Sonali. Sonali Shapurwala is with the... Yes, please. It's a financial institutions group. I didn't want to get that wrong. She's managing director and head of financial institutions group for South Asia at HSBC. And among the various mandates that she holds is also environment, social, and governance frameworks for institutional building, directing large-scale capital towards sustainable finance. I have seen HSBC's name at various parts of my work covering the most drought-prone parts of rural Maharashtra. I think I have seen HSBC work on drought mitigation efforts, on water conservation efforts. So thank you. I commend the work that HSBC is doing in this. What do you think can be the role of such philanthropic capital to build a more resilient agricultural livelihood system for India?
Thanks, Kavita, and I want to use my one Marathi line, Kashakai Mandali Bara Aina. So, I have to do that, but, just before I come back to, and I'll take off my banker's hat currently and just, the Soil Saki program, right? I had a colleague who visited one of the Soil Sakis in one of the villages, and he got talking to her, and she wasn't talking only about the farm. She was talking about soil conservation. She was talking about climate smart agriculture. She was talking about how she's sharing this knowledge with her neighbors and her community and everything. So he just asked her, he said, so what's your challenge? What is the challenge you face? And she actually said that, and again I'm going to try my Marathi, is that Vedavar Paishacha access and Sahara. Okay? That's what she was talking about. And that's when you think about financial inclusion, right? Yes, we've come a long way and, we want to build the financial inclusion. But the other thing also that he mentioned, and I want to say it to my soil sakis here, is the pride he said that they felt, the recognition that the village was giving them, and they are actually called soil doctors now. So I think that's the stories that you get away. But going back to financial inclusion, it's not something new for India, right? Since independence, various establishments have been focused on this. 65% of our population does reside in Bharat, right? We have to think of solutions at scale for this Bharat. And over the decades, every establishment has tried this. Started off with nationalization of banks, setting up regional rural banks, cooperative banks, and priority sector lending, right? All these were focuses towards serving the financially underserved, the underbanked, hard to reach places where, credit is not easily got. So I think all this was a culmination of that. That was their priority sector lending. And somebody spoke about it, but I want to spend just a minute. It's so unique to India. Every bank in this country has to have 40% of its advances to priority sector, of which 50% goes to agri sector. So, you can imagine that every time the establishment, everybody is focused on seeing how can we get large part and swaths of our population into formal finance. I think that's where the objective is. Kavita very rightly, and thank you for acknowledging HSBC, but what is a foreign bank like ours doing here? We're a guest in this country. 30 branches, maybe tomorrow 45. Are we ever going to reach the hinterland? Am I ever going to meet Archana ji? Am I ever going to, that's not our persona. Let's just be honest, right? That's not what we are catering to. We have come here with a mandate which is more sort of export, import, the affluent Indian. But it's people like Chetna ji who we are able to partner with, right? Who's helping us bridge this gap. Who's helping us saying that, look, we understand the rural sector, we understand the rhythm of the people, we understand the women on the ground, we understand what it takes to navigate this. And we come in with a bit of finance, we come in with product maybe, and we come in with scalability. So we are very, very privileged, Chetna ji, to be part of this journey, and thank you very much for keeping HSBC as part of it. I think we started our journey with you in 2007 when they set up their rural MBA college, the first in the country in rural India. The 2012, the water conservation project, more lately the saki saili the soil saki that we are doing. I think the 50,000 farmers that we have reached out to through the Cotton Doctor platform. So we are doing amazing stuff, but it's thanks to people like Chetna ji who have actually opened up the doors for us. So I think a bank like HSBC, one part is the philanthropy, the CSR and everything that we do, absolutely, but we also believe in the triple bottom line. Right? Because it's great to do philanthropy, it's great to do community building, but this has to scale. You have to pull in commercial capital at the end of the day. And to that end, HSBC is also making. What do we do as HSBC, right? We spoke about FPOs. We've actually financed our first 2 FPOs, which I think for a foreign bank was sort of unheard of that we'd ever get to that. We are financing, waste agri, which is turning into renewable energy. We are financing the pre-shipment to the post-shipment, where we have an integrated working capital. We are, yes, our persona is to work with large corporates, but what we are doing very well is we are linking up with these corporates and sort of oiling the supply chain and following them because they understand that better, but we are more than happy to finance based on the track record that they are setting. We are using blended finance in a very big way, okay? And I just want to spend maybe 30 seconds on it because banks like us do have a risk appetite issue. We do have a very sort of, traditional way of thinking. Blended finance is helping us create appetite, it's helping us create capacity. We've tied up with some very large multilaterals who are providing us guarantees basis which we are able to lend to the microfinance sector, which has impacted about 1.2 million. We are lending to various term loan projects. We've lent to a e-grain commerce platform. So there are many, many such things that are replete with examples that we are doing in the country. Thanks.
Wonderful, Sonali. Don't put the mic down. I'm going to ask all of you for one single thing that you will change if you had a magic wand and you could make agriculture super resilient in times of climate crisis. Let's start with Sonali and then we'll go to Amit. Just one thing, any one thing you can change.
So I really believe in this. I think Stri Shakti Hich Vishwachi Khari Shakti Ahe. And I think that's where we are all going to have to head to.
Amit?
We should make agriculture the engine for Viksit Bharat.
Okay. Paul, any one thing, you've got a magic wand now, change one thing about Indian agriculture.
Well, I think it's about partnerships. You're always going to have climate, you're always going to have change, and you need to have, you need to diversify, and that's where countries like Australia can be a good partner. India's exports to Australia of agricultural items have gone from about $500 million US to, $250 million US to $500 million US since entering the force of the agreement. So that just shows you the opportunities out there.
Super practical answer. Ashutosh?
Like I said, create an environment that farming and agriculture comes across like it's entrepreneurial. That there is, it's something, it's not just a dying occupation, but it's something that can be really entrepreneurial.
Wonderful. Actually, Ashutosh has sort of summarized it for me, and because Amit started with saying we need to look at farmers as businesses, each farmer as an independent business unit, and Ashutosh pretty much tied that in nicely at the end. So just to summarize, lots of great ideas on how to make Indian agriculture and agricultural policy a lot more resilient going forward. One of them is to tap the international markets, find linkages, find extensions that will take Indian produce abroad to larger markets, treat people as businesses. There are a lot of great solutions, Amit said, but they need to be operational at scale. All the solutions that all of us have heard about this morning needed to be operationalized at scale. Women, we need all the women here to take the message back home that the answer lies with us. And Ashutosh is making MAN, so we look forward to hearing more about our solutions there. Thank you so much, all of you. It's been wonderful.
Just to be minute, 30 seconds, we'd like to give you all small mementos from IMC, please. Asas, they are now.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Ashay Doshi. I'm the chairman of IMC's Agriculture and Food Processing Committee. So thank you to the Mandeshi Foundation, Chetna ji, Karan, Prabhat and team for having such a wonderful event. It's amazing to see the ground level impact that Mandeshi is having. And part of our IMC's Agriculture Committee's goal was to showcase ground level projects. So we are honored that you chose IMC as a venue for displaying these projects. And now it's a small gift from the IMC team to our chief guests for coming here. So Mr. Ashutosh.
It's okay, it's okay. Please, please take it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you all so much. Suresh Prabhu sir is on call. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us, so he's joining us virtually.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. We can hear you, sir. Thank you so much for making the time. It's unfortunate you couldn't be here, but I'm glad we can still hear from you. Yeah, over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
So, sir, I really want to congratulate the team for organizing this very interesting event on a subject which is of great importance to all of us. Because now, right now, because of the war in the West Asia, we are worried about energy security. We never talk about a very important security, which is soil security. We talk about water security, we talk about energy security, national security, securing our borders, but we rarely talk about soil security, which is the foundation of human existence. And therefore, this is a very important program. And therefore, I congratulate Karan and his team for organizing this. Thanks IMC for hosting it. And I just got some very interesting comments in the panel. Very, very good. And therefore I'm very happy that there is a lot of intellectual capital, financial capital which is gathering around these ideas. So congratulations to all of you. मी मराठी एवढ्यासाठीच बोलतो की आमच्या ज्या सगळ्या क्लायमेटसाठी आलेले आहेत ते आमच्या ग्रामीण भागातून आले आणि त्यांची मातृभाषा ही मराठी आहे. सुदैवाने माझी मातृभाषा तीच आहे. तर तुमची भाषा आणि माझी भाषा एकच असताना आपण दुसऱ्या भाषेतून कसा बोलायचं म्हणून मी तुमच्याशी मराठीला संवाद साधतो. आजचा जो कार्यक्रम आहे हा खास करून महिलांनी आयोजित केला. चेतना झाला सिन्हा ही माझे अनेक वर्षापासूनचे माझे भगिनी आहे, मैत्रीण आहे, सहयोगी आहे, एकत्र आम्ही कामं केले आणि म्हणून मला खात्री आहे की या अनेक वर्षाच्या प्रयत्नातून निर्माण झालेली एक सामाजिक चळवळ आहे. ही चळवळ अशी की महिलांना शेवटी देशातले, समाजाचे, कुटुंबाचे सगळे प्रश्न पुरुषांनी जरी तयार केले असले तरी त्याचा सामना आणि त्याची उत्तर शोधण्यासाठी महिलांनाच काम करावं लागतं. शेतकरी आपण काय म्हणतो तर शेतकरी एवढं काम करतो पुरुष, त्याच्यापेक्षा जास्त काम महिला करते. शेतात करते, घरात करते, कुटुंबात करते आणि शेवटी त्या कामाचा मोबदला काय मिळतो अनेक ठिकाणी त्या महिलांना त्या पुरुषाकडून मार खावा लागतो. मी अशाही म्हणतो की मी 4 वेळा लोकसभेत निवडून आलो. त्या मतदारसंघात महिलांचं प्रमाण जास्त होतं पण तिकडे हा सामाजिक प्रश्न मी फार जवळून पाहिला आणि म्हणून आजच्या कार्यक्रमामध्ये हा जो एक निराकरण आहे की महिलांना याच्याशी जोडून घ्यायचं आणि महिलांना प्रश्न सोडवायचे. आपल्या सगळ्यांच्या माहितीसाठी सांगतो, स्वारी सगळ्या जो प्रश्न मला महत्वाचा आहे. 1996 साली अटल बिहारी वाजपेयीच्या सरकारमध्ये केंद्रामध्ये भारत सरकारमध्ये मी पर्यावरण मंत्री होतो. आता अटलजींच्या काळात आणि नंतर मोदींच्या काळात मी 10 खाती सांभाळली, मंत्री होतो आणि कॅबिनेट मंत्री अनेक खात्यांचा. पण ती 2 माझ्यापेक्षा महत्वाची म्हणजे हा आजच्या कार्यक्रमाच्या दृष्टीने पर्यावरण मंत्री होतो. मी पाण्याचा मंत्री पण होतो परंतु त्या पहिल्या काळामध्ये केमिकल फर्टिलायझर मंत्री होतो 1999. त्यावेळेला मी हा प्रश्न उपस्थित केला होता की आपण सगळेजण अनेक सिक्युरिटी बोलतो, सॉइल सिक्युरिटी कुठे? ही गोष्ट 27-28 वर्षापूर्वी त्यावेळेला लोकांनी मला मूर्खात कळले. सॉइल सिक्युरिटी बोलण्याची आवश्यकता असते. आपल्या माहितीची तुम्हाला सगळ्यांना कल्पना आहे की आपण ती जमीन सुपीक आहे. ही सुपीकता कशातून येते? त्या सॉइलमुळे येते. जमिनीमुळे सुपीकता येत नाही, सॉइलमुळे. आणि सॉइल निर्माण करण्यासाठी लाखो वर्षापासून ते निसर्गाने अनेक त्याचे निसर्गाच्या लीला ज्या आहेत त्यातून निर्माण झालेली आपली सॉइल आणि मग ती टिकवणं, ती जपून ठेवणे महत्वाचं आहे. आज मी आता उल्लेख केला पश्चिमाच्या म्हणजे आपल्याला ब्रिटिश म्हणतो किंवा गल्फ कंट्रीज म्हणतो, सगळ्यांना सोपं जाण्यासाठी दुबई म्हणतो, अशा ठिकाणी ही सॉइल आयात केली जाते. कारण ते संपूर्णपणे वाळवंट डेझर्ट आहे. त्या वाळवंटावर टॉप सॉइल जाण्यासाठी हे वेगळ्या देशातून आयात करतात आणि त्यामुळे तिकडे हिवाळी दिसते. आपल्याकडे सुदैव भारतामध्ये 35 अग्रक्लायमेटिक झोन आहेत परंतु आपल्याकडे अनेक ठिकाणी अनेक तऱ्हेची माती आहे. मी कोकणातल्या लाल माती आहे, मी पश्चिम महाराष्ट्रातल्या काळी माती आहे. त्या मातीच्या अनेक प्रती आहेत. जाती म्हणतात नाही, जाती व्यवस्था माणसाने निर्माण केली, माणसाने निसर्गाने निर्माण केली. परंतु ही एक आपल्याकडे अनेक लाखो वर्षाच्या निसर्गाच्या अनेक केलेल्या उत्क्रांतीमधून निर्माण झालेली माती आहे. टॉप सॉइल, सॉइल असली तर टॉप सॉइल म्हणतो, वरचा जो जमिनीवरचा जो वरचा थर असतो टॉप सॉइल लेअर म्हणतो, तो जमिनीची सुपीकता ठरवतो. सुदैवाने आजचा जो कार्यक्रम आहे त्याच्यामध्ये 3-4 अनेक विषय आहेत. एक आहे क्लायमेट चेंज. आज सगळ्यात मोठा धोका माणसाला युद्धापासून जेवढे लोक म्हणतात त्याच्यापेक्षा कित्येक लाखो पटीने जास्त लोक या पर्यावरणाच्या बदलामुळे क्लायमेट चेंजमुळे मरणार आहेत. आणि त्याचा सगळ्यात वाईट दुष्परिणाम कसा होणार असेल तर तो शेतीवर होणार. आणि शेती जमिनीशिवाय टॉप सॉइलशिवाय केली जाऊ शकत नाही आणि पाण्याशिवाय केली जाऊ शकत नाही. आणि दोन्ही गोष्टी क्लायमेट चेंजचे शिखर पडणार आहेत. क्लायमेट चेंजचा सगळ्यात दुष्परिणाम कसा होणार असेल तर पाण्यावर होणार आहे आणि टॉप सॉइल होणार आहे. कारण त्यामधूनच आपल्या जगामध्ये कल्पना असेल तर डेझर्टिफिकेशनची एक मोठी प्रक्रिया असते. असे रामसर कन्व्हेन्शन सारखे या पाण्यावर टिकवण्यासाठी वॉटरवर टिकवण्यासाठी केलं गेलं. परंतु डेझर्टिफिकेशनचा धोका काय तर त्यामधून आपली टॉप सॉइल नष्ट होणार आहे आणि त्यावर जिथे नव्हतं ते वाळवंट तयार होणार. असा विचार करा की आपली सुपीक जमीन वाळवंटामध्ये गेली तर काय होईल. आणि म्हणून क्लायमेट चेंज आणि त्यामध्ये असणारे इतर जे बिघडलेले विषय त्याचा सगळ्यात वाईट परिणाम हा आपल्या शेतीवर होणार आहे, जमिनीवर होणार आहे, पाण्यावर होणार आहे. आणि त्यासाठी आपण सगळ्यांनी असलेल्या गोष्टीचा जतन केलं पाहिजे. ज्या नाहीत त्या गोष्टीच्या मागे धावण्यापेक्षा जे आहे ते आपण ठेवलं पाहिजे. पण ते काय कोणी दिलेलं नाही आपल्याला, तर निसर्गाची जी देणगी आपल्याला जशी आपली निर्मिती निसर्गाने केली त्या निसर्गाने या टॉप सॉइलची देखील निर्मिती केली आणि म्हणून ते टिकवण्याची गरज आहे. आज जगामध्ये वर्ल्ड हेल्थ डे पण साजरा केला जातो. सगळ्यात वर्ल्ड हेल्थ डे करताना माणसाची हेल्थ तपासली जाते पण सॉइल हेल्थ कोण बघतो आणि त्यासाठी आजचा कार्यक्रम मी म्हणतो महत्वाचा. आणि यामध्ये महिलांना जोडून घेणं आवश्यक अशासाठी आहे की सगळ्यात जास्त भाग समाजामध्ये असणाऱ्या प्रश्नांचा, कुटुंबामध्ये निर्माण होणाऱ्या वादांचा याचा सगळ्यात भाग आमच्या महिलावर आणि म्हणून त्यांचा ह्याच्याशी या कार्यक्रमाशी या चळवळीशी त्यांचा संबंध जोडणं हे केवळ संयुक्तिक नाही तर आवश्यक आहे. आता ऋषिकेश गोवारीकर चांगलं वाक्य म्हणाले की सगळ्यांना वाटतं डॉक्टर इंजिनियर व्हायला पाहिजे. शेतकरी व्हावं काय वाटतं, शेतकरी व्हावं वाटत असेल आणि त्यासाठी अभिमान बाळगायचा असेल तर शेतकऱ्याची आर्थिक स्थिती सुधारली पाहिजे. तिथे महिला त्यांना माहिती आहे त्यांच्या वडिलांनी लग्न करून देताना विचार केला शेतकऱ्याच्या मुलाची नको, कारण पाणी आणायला बैलवर जावं लागेल आणि शेवटी दिवसभर त्या शेतात काम करावं लागेल आणि रात्रीपर्यंत घरी जेवण मलाच मिळालं. दुपारी शेतावर जाताना बांधावर जाताना बाकी पण तयार करून मलाच न्यावी लागेल. मग शेतकऱ्याचं आर्थिक उत्पन्न सुधारलं तर आपोआपच इंजिनियर डॉक्टरपेक्षा त्याचा सामाजिक स्तर वरचा निर्माण होईल. तो करण्यासाठी आपल्याला शेतीमध्ये आमूलाग्र बदल करून त्यामधून आर्थिक उन्नती कशी साधली जाईल हे पाहिलं पाहिजे. हा देशाच्या ढोबळ उत्पन्नामध्ये ज्याला जीडीपी म्हणतो शेतीचा वाटा केवळ 14% आणि 14% निर्माण होणाऱ्या उत्पन्नाचं वाटप मात्र 60% लोकांमध्ये केलं जातं. एवढीची भाकरी आणि 10 लोक खाण्याचं काय हीच परिस्थिती या शेतीच्या उद्योगाची झाली. आणि मग शेतीला आपण जर आर्थिक उद्धार दिला, समता निर्माण केली तर स्वाभाविकपणे शेतकऱ्याला एक समाजामध्ये मिळालं स्थान मिळेल. आणि मग लोक म्हणतील डॉक्टर इंजिनियर नको, मला शेतकरी नवरा पाहिजे. समाजात त्याला सलाम करेल आणि केलं पाहिजे कारण तो अन्नदाता आहे. तर अन्नदात्याला आपण विसरलो आणि म्हणून आजचा कार्यक्रम त्यापेक्षा अतिशय महत्त्वाचा. कारण I want to congratulate you, thank you and your team, your colleagues for making this very important event. And I was very keen to participate into this. Unfortunately, there is my office in Delhi. There was some miscommunication and they could not actually keep it in my diary properly, so I had some conflict of event. And therefore, my schedule didn't allow me to be there in person. The program is taking place in IMC. Has to be part of IMC for a number of years. I've spoken here many times. I joined IMC delegations overseas on number of occasions. So I would have been extremely happy to be with Bangladesh family and with all my great sisters who come from rural areas. As well as I wanted to come and personally congratulate your great team for keeping this as an important issue, burning issue in front of the society and organizing this event. But I'm very unfortunately I could not join you. लेकिन मैं जिनको मराठी नहीं समझता है उनके लिए हिंदी में इतनी बात कहूँगा कि मैं इस कार्यक्रम में आने के लिए बहुत ही उत्सुकता लगी। दुर्भाग्य से मेरे दिल्ली ऑफिस से कुछ जो कमियां आई उसके कारण मैं नहीं आ पाया, लेकिन मैं आप सबको इस बात के लिए धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि इतना अच्छा कार्यक्रम, इतने अच्छे लोगों को उसमें सम्मिलित करके आपने जो आयोजित किया उसके लिए सभी को मैं धन्यवाद भी देना चाहूँगा और उम्मीद रखता हूँ कि आने वाले दिनों में स्वास्थ्य और महिला खेती और साथ साथ में क्लाइमेट चेंज, ये चारों एक दूसरे से जुड़े हुए विषय। क्लाइमेट चेंज सभी को खत्म करने वाला है, so it's a great level in that sense. महिला हमारी it's a backbone of our family, the backbone of our society. फिर खेती, खेती नहीं होगी तो लोगों के लिए लाइवलीहुड का जो सोर्स है वो चला ही जाएगा, लेकिन खाने के लिए क्या मिलेगा? जोमेटो तो आपको खाना घर में लाके देता है, लेकिन जोमेटो जो खाना बना के लाके देता है, बनाने के लिए खेती नहीं होगी तो खाना कहाँ से बनेगा? तो जोमेटो खाना नहीं देगा, जोमेटो को भी खाना खिलाना पड़ता है। जोमेटो के जो डिलीवरी बॉय है उनको भी, हमारे जो भाई है उनको भी खाना चाहिए, और जोमेटो जो डिलीवर करता है सिर्फ, लेकिन वो खाना बना नहीं पाता है, बनाने के लिए कोई दूसरी किचन है, वो किचन भी खाना नहीं बना पाएगी यदि खेती नहीं होगी तो इसलिए हम सबको ध्यान में रखना है कि खेती हमारे लिए आवश्यक है, क्लाइमेट चेंज खतरा है, और साथ ही में ये महिला जो है हमारे सही मायने में हमारे पूरे समाज की, हमारी समाज व्यवस्था की एक बहुत बड़ी शक्ति है। उनको सिर्फ नारी शक्ति चुनाव के बारे में नहीं किया जा सकता, उस सही मायने में हमारी एक प्रेरणा भी है। इसके लिए ये मैं समझता हूँ ये भी एक आवश्यक बात है। और चौथी बात जो आज हमने सॉइल के बारे में की, सॉइल, बिना सॉइल people go in soil and forget the real soil. So therefore I think the soil is the backbone again of the entire economy, because without that agriculture will not be able to sustain, and therefore I congratulate you for organizing this program. This last point I would say is about finance. I was to be the chairman of the largest cooperative bank in India, Saraswat Bank, when I was 31. So chairman of Saraswat Bank almost 40 years ago. And today we can very clearly see that financial linkage is so critical. Those days when I was chairman, I linked because we are urban cooperative, we are not allowed to do agriculture lending. So we took a very vulnerable section of industry, that's small scale industry. We gave them loans, and today we are seeing the bank growing as well as the small scale sector growing. The bank has today, I am proud to say that Saraswat Bank has crossed a milestone of 1 lakh crore business. So just imagine, banking is so important, and today's program also includes financial linkage. Because if you don't have financial linkage, how will you actually enter the market? Marketing is extremely important, because from farm to market is a critical link. And therefore farmers lose money. क्योंकि उनको मेहनत तो करते हैं, लेकिन जब बेचने का सवाल आता है तो बीच में ज्यादा पैसे खर्चे चले जाता है। इसलिए उसी मार्केट में जाने के लिए, पहुंचने के लिए, मंडी तक पहुंचने के लिए पैसे की जरूरत है। वो पैसा देने के लिए एक इंस्टीट्यूशन मैकेनिज्म बनना चाहिए, व्यवस्था बननी चाहिए, जो व्यवस्था से उनको पैसा मिलेगा। साहूकार के पास करना पड़ेगा या किसको रिश्वत भी नहीं देनी पड़ेगी, ऐसी व्यवस्था बनने की आवश्यकता है। इसलिए इस कार्यक्रम में उसी का भी मैं समझता हूँ करण, आपने उसका भी इंक्लूडेड दैट एज अ पार्ट ऑफ द एजेंडा। So I want to thank you, congratulate you. It's my loss that I could not come and attend this very interesting program, and I would have got yet another opportunity to meet my friends and colleagues from the Indian Merchant Chamber IMC. But I missed that, and I wish to congratulate the young team which organized this program. माझ्या सगळ्या ज्या ज्या शेतकरी महिला देशात आपल्या राज्यातल्या खास करून पश्चिम महाराष्ट्रातून त्याच्या कार्यक्रमाला पुण्यातल्या साताऱ्याच्या काही सांगलीच्या असतील, या सगळ्या महिलांना मी मनापासून धन्यवाद देतो आणि अशी आशा करतो की आपण सगळे मिळून देशाचं भविष्य उज्ज्वल असेल तरी तुमचं भविष्य चांगलं पाहिजे। व्यक्तीचं भविष्य वाईट आहे, देशाचं चांगलं असतं वर्ष असतं, आणि व्यक्तीचं चांगलं असेल समाज कसा पुढे जाऊ शकतो, आणि समाजाला पुढे जायचं महिलांना बाजूला ठेवून समाज कधी पुढे जाऊ शकेल। म्हणून या सगळ्या गोष्टीचा एकत्रित विचार करून आपण काम करण्याची आवश्यकता आहे। मी पुन्हा एकदा सगळ्यांना मनापासून धन्यवाद देतो। I really want to congratulate my friends in IMC who just gave some mementos to all the participants. So I'm glad that I was not aware that we have such a very good, because there are so many committees in IMC. There used to be, I was hearing also banking committee I should share again long time back. So I really want to congratulate IMC as well. Thank you very much. Sorry for not being there as a part of such a grand and very relevant, useful, socially desirable program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suresh Prabhu Sahib. And we wish he could have joined us, but he cannot. I know shopping is extremely tempting and there are just so many great things there. But as we would like to close this program, I would like to request Chetna ma'am to come and what? You don't want to? Okay. Okay. So then I think I think everybody is hungry as well. So Shimona, if I can just ask you to close the event. And then everybody can either go on that side or this side or both, depending on their preference. But yeah, thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we come to the end of today's event, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for sharing your knowledge with us. Today, through the voices of our farmers, our soil sakis, our partners, our panelists, we've seen that when it comes to agriculture knowledge, technology, finance, and ecosystem, the power lies in solutions that are farmer-led, women-led, and are rooted in the community. A special thank you to our farmers and soil saki, who are the heart and soul of our program, without which none of this would have been possible. Thank you especially to HSBC and IMC for helping us host this event at this venue today. I also want to give a special shout out to Karthik, a young talented artist from Maswar. If you look around the banners, they've all been hand painted and the rangoli has been done by Karthik. So if I can request Karthik to just come on stage, and if we can just give him a round of applause for all the hand-painted work that he has done. Thank you everyone for being a part of this. We invite everyone to please have lunch. Lunch will be served at the back end of the hall. Thanks again. Bye-bye.